The word decent doesn't apply to me.
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal. Shut up!
Hello, whatever shall we talk about? Hey everybody, it's me, your buddy Admiral Teag. I kept my part of the promise up. I showed up on time and insane. Hello! Hello, alternative world sorcerer Dan. Hello, X. I have not one but two devices fired up to watch you all over the world. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody. Well, I have a big show for you tonight, and you know what? I guess we'll just get the elephant out of the room right up front. Let's talk about Section 31. I may need some of those things. Yeah, 2100. Yes. Isn't that great? It's a good feeling. You know, let's see who shows up. I'll say right now, we'll try to get a few more people in the room. You know, it takes a minute for it to kind of like permeate out through YouTube's environment. And wow, you know what? Just what a wild day. I guess we'll talk about CC Sabathia nominated. Yeah. Okay. We all know the deal. So here's what I know. I went to every place I saw that was reviewing it, and I listened to Nerdrotic I listened to Open Bar. Nerdrotic had the most information on it, but it seemed like Drinker was pretty read in. My perspective on that is, it seems to me like everyone on their panel from that show is coming at it who likes Star Trek. Seems to be like Deep Space Nine is their thing. These people seem to be heavily into Deep Space Nine. That seems to be their thing. And by the way, to Kyle Cullen, who always comes through later and always comments, I see you, buddy, and I shout out to you. You comment every time, and I totally appreciate it. And if you could tweet out that I'm live, it'd help. Especially if you tweet it out off the browser. Like, it wakes up, what do you call it, YouTube? YouTube's not, like, thrilled that it's getting shared, but it likes that you're sharing that you want people to come to YouTube. It likes that. It likes that. It doesn't like X. I'm pretty sure it can sense when we're on X and YouTube. But you know what? One has not affected the other so far, and we've seen nothing but a weird disparity in the two. Here's the deal. Coming up, we have a Star Trek event. Let's call it what it is. Is it cataclysmic? I don't think so. What are you going to do? Really? What can you do? Bones, and not Bones McCoy, is the one qualified for a Star Trek critique now. Remember the show Bones? It had Emily Deschanel, Zooey Deschanel's even hotter sister, and the show was kind of dumb, but it was also kind of fun. And even though it was maybe not the greatest show, she worked at the Jeffersonian Institute. You know what I mean? Her sidekick was Booth. They weren't quite like the X-Files people. They're a little more tactile. Their cases were weird, but like my mom could watch Bones, and she doesn't like any like crazy stuff. So, you know, like Bones is the person who should be doing a Star Trek review. I'll say that right now, and I'm not Bones McCoy. I'm talking Emily Deschanel. So if I were Dr. Brennan right now, sitting on the stand, I would be, and by the way, the most alien being I've ever seen is when Bones is on the stand. She's like, I saw the episode the other day where she couldn't testify because she was too negative and like couldn't communicate right. What a lesson to anyone in YouTube. The episode of Bones where they give her the appearance and the speech coach and they try to get her to be less inhuman. And then the own like DA has to admit, the attorney, the district attorney who works with her, right, trying to get the conviction, has to like bring in a weird line of questioning, and the judge's like, "Where are you going with this?" And he's like, "Our best witness is alien, and you know, it weirds people out." And she's like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, they order her to be quiet, and they have this discussion about how just because she's cold and clinical and smart and people can't relate to her, it doesn't mean that people should like not listen to her. So that's the person who should be doing it now. And plus, she's a lot better looking than me. But you got me, your crazy buddy Admiral Teag. Here's the things that I've heard, and I'll source them more or less where I heard them from. I want to thank Film Threat for giving me a heads up on this one, and I also feel like Deep Space Nine played into Alan Ang's review, and I think he said that was his favorite Star Trek show. At any rate, I'm sorry, I'm muting on and off because it's been freezing here, so like I'm pretty cold. But welcome everybody. I'm watching X, and I see Critically Thinking and Drinking popping up in the X screen. How's that for quick recognition, guys? If you're not already following Critically Thinking and Drinking, give it a shot. He's a great guy, and you should follow me on X. But here's Critically Thinking and Drinking. Most of you will already know him, but those of you on the YouTube side, it would only help. So here's what I know. I watched the Film Threat review, and the Film Threat review for Section 31 was... Now, what I love about Film Threat is they're good film critics, but also the thing is I've watched enough. I really like Alan. I really like Chris. I like their style. I like what they do. They have a really great show. It's absolutely one of the best run shows on YouTube, and that's not just because they read my comment. That wasn't even a super chat, but I do appreciate them. They are super chads for doing that for me. But you know what? They watch it so that a lot of you wouldn't have to, although I will watch it also, and you can get my perspective. I don't want to make a big deal out of this one because here's the thing. I'm going to take the L as far as making a video on it of any importance. I might do a video upload of Sci-Fi CSI, but I'm not going to make an essay, and I don't want to do anything to help this to trend, even though it's what my channel is about. I am true to my convictions. I retain my hashtag boycott. I saw most people talking about this, made sure not to hashtag it. They'll try to find a way to suss it up anyway, but maybe make that metadata like a little weird to look at. Do everything you can, in a boycott way. I call for a boycott of this movie. If you watch it, you should only watch it with me. You should only bother watching it with me. Why? Because I'll give you the reasons why it's not, you shouldn't consider it Star Trek, but also why it's not good or bad on its own. I will be objective on this one, and I will disabuse myself of my ignorance, which is this. I love Star Trek to the point that sometimes just the theme song of Voyager is so good that it takes me through the first segment of Voyager, which is really dumb, and by the time they get to the second segment, I forgot like why I was really watching it, and I'm just like, Jerry Ryan's hot. Like I've gotten lost in Star Trek to the point where like a weird episode about a weird alien where we just would go to a weird planet. That's enough for me to really enjoy Star Trek. And critically saying Section 31 is the exact opposite of reasons people have ever watched Star Trek. I think that like Alan and understood that, and Chris was seemed like more of a Star Trek traditionalist. Chris a little older, I think, Alan. Alan's like formative years may have been when Deep Space Nine was big, and you don't have to be much older than that. Like we're talking a difference of like 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years in age. Like, you could be in the same high school in different grades, and one person's going to come out of there loving Deep Space Nine, and the other person's favorite show is going to be TOS. And somewhere in the middle, everyone likes TNG. That's how random the Star Trek thing was, because it fires back up out of nowhere after like 8 or 9 years, right? It's gone for something like 10 or 12 years, right? Whatever, 1979, about 8 or 9 years later, right? So then 3 years after that, we get another amazing movie. Star Trek Wrath of Khan brings us to new levels, and we have Star Trek like never before, and that reinvigorates Gene Roddenberry to make what he really needed to make, was a TV show. I love Star Trek 1, and it's fun, and there's a case for every aspect of it, but it's a very personal Star Trek story that's also a very Star Trek-y Star Trek story that's also at odds with being Star Trek. Lot going on there. A unifying and amazing soundtrack brings it together, so give it that. Pardon me while I mute for a minute, I just have to cough. If I don't respond, if you don't hear me for a moment, let me know. I'm watching 2 devices and my mute button. So this was, Alan gave it a 5 out of 10, which would make it mediocre, but it's not a passing grade, right? And he also said, he qualified it a lot. He explained where he's at with the Star Trek fandom, which I appreciated deeply, because that's the right way to do this. Star Trek is such a legacy thing. Like, if I did Doctor Who, there'd be a discussion about how much I know about Doctor Who. But, that's to stay on track. With Section 31, he said back in the days of Deep Space Nine, people would probably have written it off for the kooky show that it is, and just gone with it and forgotten about it. But since it's not that period anymore, and there's no honeymoon for Star Trek, and there's no tolerance for bad Star Trek after so much bad Star Trek, people might really dislike it. So he was clear, and he said for him it was a 5. Now, the good thing about this is Alan is an extremely consistent critic, so I can follow him, and I know where he's coming from. You know what I'm saying, guys? And hello, greetings to, hey, Lance. It's good to see you here. Mr. House Party 6, good to see you here. Lance, you've not seen it. It hasn't dropped yet. I think it drops. Paramount's Skydance headquarters probably would be the place it drops from. But if you're Skydance, you move to and take over the Paramount lot, right? Because that's one of the things you bought. So I'd imagine that it's going to drop at 8 a.m. your time, Lance. So you'll be able to, like, if you and don't leave. And by the way, guys, check out Lance's book, Silver Screen Journeys. He's going to have the only known photograph of Admiral Teag will be showing up with Lance. I've been enjoying the book. I just got through his personal forward and all the things he said about what the movie's meant to him. I don't even want to spoil it. It was absolutely, I can't endorse it strongly enough, and I'll soon be endorsing it on Amazon. So Lance, get that. You want to? I would love to have you on. I'll set that up right now. Lance, you know what? It's great to know that you could jump on, and I finally have both a good script, a good topic, and good audio. How often does that happen? You know what? I love it. I had 3 different guests set up for today, and only person who is going to be on the show this week, or 2 guests set up for this week. And Lance, you now have that golden ticket. I had 2 guests set up for this week. Both of them had to cancel. And hey, Sci-Fi, sit down. It's good to see you. Yeah, and you know what? I have gotten so much positive feedback and so many organic rewatches. This show is good for relatively 75 to 100 rewatches. If I don't do another show, it plays into it. Like the Tuesday show doesn't do as well as the Thursday show because there's not another talk type show until the next Tuesday, right? So the Thursday show accrues unless there's a Friday show. This week, we got Saving Star Trek together on Friday and Saturday. We have a Friday Star Trek show that we will not be using the Star Trek hashtag for. I have been using, ironically, hashtag Solar Journeys. I have a real investment in Star Trek, and I really just, let me get through the review stuff, and then my guest will be here. So here we go. In this Star Trek movie, we have a nightclub performer who is the mirror universe, whichever mirror is left, of Empress Grigoriou, and I guess she's still Empress anyway, and she calls herself Emperor, which is another masculine title. It's crazy stuff. And hey, let me beam up to my bridge, my pal, and someone we welcome back our first probably 3-time guest. He did it in record time. Here he is, my pal and yours, Lance S.A. Nielsen. Welcome, Lance.
Phases on stun.
I set mine to stunning. I'm doing great. It's good to see you. Thanks for popping on. I love your Klingon bird of prey.
Well, you know what? Yeah, that's one of mine. I've got 5 of those, I think.
I have so many Star Trek ships with insight.
I was browsing before moving myself from the office to the bedroom.
Are you feeling better? You've had a cough for 2 weeks.
No, I've had it longer than that. I've had it for 3. It's because I had a bout of pneumonia, and
please go to the doctor.
No, I was in hospital.
Okay, good.
Man.
Good.
I'm on the other side of all that. I have a very weak chest, and whenever I get anything chest related, it takes a long time for me to get rid of it. So unfortunately,
I fit that classification as well.
Yeah, so in cold and flu season, I always get one of these things, and it always takes a long time. But this one in particular has probably been the most ill I've ever been.
It's been hanging in there. Since Wild Geese. I want to thank you for your passion on that one. That's one of my that's one of everybody's favorite streams. It's well liked. Everyone should go listen to Lance.
Well,
what do you think? I know you haven't seen this movie, but anyway, welcome. Tell me more. How, are you coming along? Are you feeling better at least?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just thought because you were kind of doing I didn't know what the topic of the stream was, but you seem to be doing like an overview of what you liked and what you don't like about Star Trek over the years. And,
we're going to define what it means for sure and talk about that, because tomorrow I have to dive in and we'll do a live watch of Section 31. And then me and my panel who do Enterprise, we started out doing Enterprise. We'll be great by the time we get to TOS, because we'll have 100 episodes basically under our belt when we get to the first episode.
I've not seen all the episodes of Enterprise. I've probably seen 60% of it. I haven't seen all the episodes of Voyager either. I've probably seen almost all of them, but I know there's a few I've missed.
It almost never gets as dumb as Voyager.
Well, you know what I liked about Voyager was there were some great characters and some great actors in there. If it hadn't have had
I agree.
Robert Picardo in it,
he's great.
I would have tuned out of it a long time ago. And was it Dr. Flux that was in Enterprise?
Yeah, John Billingsley is the actor. He's good.
Right. So I was at I blagged my way into a Star Trek convention. This was in 2021, just coming out of the pandemic, and I was running a game at a games convention in the same sort of building, and the games convention, the ticket sales were really low, but there was a Star Trek convention in the atrium next door, so it was like they basically said, hey, everyone from Trek can come into our games convention for free. And they were like, okay, cool, your organisers can come in here for free as well. Now, I wasn't one of the organisers, but I heard this and I just went over and said, hey, I'm one of the organisers of Salute. So, apparently I can come in. And just as I went in, the actress who plays Janeway, she was doing a talk, right? So, where all the other celebrities were with their desks, waiting for people to sort of sign, all of those queues, just as I arrived, just suddenly disappeared because everybody wanted to hear the Janeway talk, and I think she was on stage with a couple of other people. So suddenly there was like 8 Star Trek actors all sitting in front of me, not doing anything. And the first one that I got to speak to, who I had an absolutely lovely conversation with, was the guy who plays Garrick, the tailor in Deep Space Nine.
We're going to buy a cameo from him. Everyone loves Garrick. Go on.
The actor's name escapes me, and I know him. I know his career.
Anthony something. I'll have it in a moment.
He did a really good portrayal of Liberace in a TV movie.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, before Michael, what's his name, did the big movie, you know, and he was fantastic
Andrew
as
Robinson.
Andrew Robinson, right? And of course, he was also the bad guy in the first Dirty Harry movie. And thank God, when I saw him, normally what happens when I see an actor whose career I've followed, even though I work in the industry, normally what happens is I get an instant brain fart and I can't remember a thing, like their name, or I just go. But this was the one
Oh
time
yeah.
that didn't happen, and I just went straight up to him and I went, "You're Andrew Robinson." He said, "Yeah." I said, "I have followed your career for so long," and I was actually wearing a jacket that said producer on it because I was wearing a film crew jacket. And I said, "You're one of the finest actors of your generation. Do you know that?" And I said it with that level of sincerity. And he clutched his chest and he went, "My God, that's one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me." And I said, "Look, I mean it." I said, "The window's closing, but I said, if you and I can ever work together, I'll make it happen." And because I said I'd love to work with you on something.
I'm
And
trying to think of his
he
other
he
roles.
had a
He's
tear in his eye. He had a tear in his eye. You know, he like welled up. You know.
is he the Scorpio killer, right? That's
That's
his
right.
role in
Yeah.
Dirty
Yeah.
Harry. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like a real enough, believable enough killer. He was creepy enough and weird enough, and yeah, he was powerful. He was powerful in that role. He made your hero's only as good as your adversary, and he was a great adversary in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, he's. You know, if you look through his CV, he's done some great things. But Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek show overall because I think it's got the best overall beginning, middle, and end sort of arc, if you like. I liked the big space battles. They still felt quite Trek-like. They went a bit Star Warsy towards the end, but um, I did like them. I liked the ships. I liked most of the characters, and again, you had a really, really good cast. And I think Avery Brooks is a massively underrated Star Trek captain and a massively underrated actor. Full stop. Um,
He
so
has a
yeah,
style familiar to Americans, but he's really good at it. That's the best way I can put it.
yeah, and I think he's
Hey, Sub
predominantly
Commander.
he's a stage actor predominantly. You know, theater. He's a theater background guy. Um, but I
I'm
also
glad I got to see him in this other guise as Garrick now that I know he was the Scorpio killer. I knew there was
yeah,
something about this. Deep Space Nine, just really quick, here's my relationship with it. I have a
go
Deep
for it.
Space Nine blind spot to a degree, because here's what happens. With Voyager, it's one thing. They'll play the Voyager song. I just told the audience, sometimes the Voyager song will carry me through like a week opening act. And hi, Jonathan Davis, who came in. And did I miss anyone here? Critically's out there. Sci-Fi Sith Dan is out there. Mark Harkness is out there. Mr. House Party 6. I'm sorry. Let me just say hi to my subs.
No,
You know what?
cool.
Honestly, when I would watch Deep Space Nine, it was at a point in my life where I was doing a lot of stuff, right? And I had a lot going on. And this is the way I put it to people. I started every episode of Deep Space Nine, but sometimes it'd just be like an episode would linger on a character I wasn't crazy about. Like sometimes it got lost in like she's beautiful, but for after a while, a pointless episode about Nana Visitor getting shipped with the Cardassian Hilter, that was a little rich. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
the
not
episode.
every episode was great. I get that, sure.
Right, and then so like I had a rule where it was like it didn't have the momentum of Voyager, where the theme song was so majestic that I was like, I'm filled with the spirit of wanting to watch a sci-fi show, and it was very forgiving. It got you through like bad opening segments and bad setups, and sometimes it saved an episode. I'm being serious. That's how powerful it was, but. With Deep Space Nine, sometimes, like, I trusted Jake Sisko for a decent performance more than a lot of people. I trusted Sisko himself. I liked Bashir. If I saw Bashir and Garrick together, I stayed with it for sure, no matter what, up or down. And if I saw Quark, I would give it to the second commercial break. And if it was starting to fall apart, I'd bolt. But, like, little tolerance for long introspective Odo pieces. Then that's just me. But I'll close that gap. There's a lot of great untapped Star Trek for me to see, is the way I see it. But I'm honest about
Yeah.
it. Hi, Chetrark. So go
No,
go ahead,
I
man.
mean, I take it that you weren't similarly inspired by the opening music of Enterprise.
No. In fact, one of the things I did for our audience is I took the Archer's theme, the end song of the episode, and I took the beginning video, and I made a YouTube legal version where I cut the video up just enough, and I show the beginning of Enterprise, and I sync it as much as I can to Archer's theme, only cutting away when I have to for YouTube reasons. So you see the spinning compasses and the globes and the hemispheres and the Columbus era map and the age of exploration and the journey into space. Because I feel what I did outright is we have an illegal version of it that I can sometimes play on Cosme, because when we watch Star Trek, we give people a way to watch it with us, right? Which we'll do tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Everybody, set the notification. It's pinned to the top. But if you reverse it and put Archer's theme up front, the video still works. It was a dumb last-minute decision, and I blame that it was everything in total that didn't get that show renewed. And they were ready for a movie. That cast on Enterprise did great. I love Enterprise. I feel that the shows in order of my enjoyment now, maybe not quality, but my enjoyment now is, and I'll qualify this, TOS. Every episode except 2 are like the greatest TV of all time. 2 or 3 of them are just great TV. Everything else is the greatest TV of all time. The Next Generation, the first 2 years were what they were, but then there's a lot of super great TV. There might be more sum total great episodes of Next Generation than any other Star Trek, including TOS, because there's more than 70 great episodes of TNG, and they explore more stuff. And some of it's really good. It's really good. Patrick Stewart in his prime, I can't stand him now. It's diminished my enjoyment. But in quality, they're number 2. But in enjoyment, number 2 to TOS is Enterprise. I love Archer. I love Trip. I love Linda Park as Hoshi. I love Mr. Reed from England, who should have been in the Royal Navy, whose parents are disappointed in him but don't know what his favorite food is. I love T'Pol. Who doesn't love T'Pol? I loved writing a song.
Yeah. She married one of the producers, I think, at one point, or certainly dated.
T'Pol, I think she dated one of the producers, and the thing that's confusing is it was the show was made by one company, but she married the head of a company that used to be called Ticketmaster. I think they were called Live Nation, but the corporate name is like Comcast or a Clear Channel. One is one and one is the other, right? So she's had relationships with both, but the one she married is like 50 times richer than the richest person you could think of, because he's like got a piece of all concerts in America, and she doesn't
have nothing to do with
fuck. No, it was for love, of course, but yeah, she could give a fuck about Star Trek. And Sub Commander says, I did not watch all of DS9 when it aired. I found Babylon 5 more interesting, and some of the performances in world building. It was great. If I knew things like, tell me when they bring back Jellicoe to have a fight in that Dominion War, because that was one of your greatest Star Trek characters. He deserved to come back.
Yeah,
the actor was out there.
Great character. I love the whole Dominion War arc.
Show me the episode where they release Captain Maxwell from jail and like, you're good enough to lead this mission, Maxwell. There was another great character. Remember when he sang Gary Owen with O'Brien? Or was it Minstrel Boy? He sang Minstrel Boy.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I don't remember which episode that is.
I'm trying to remember the name, but it's like they do that trick where they can beam you through the shields because they're just so good and they're just so Starfleet and they've anticipated the captain's orders and they've been working on it. Total Star Trek stuff. They're military, and he's just like he beams into the captain's quarters, and him and Captain Maxwell, and it's just like I'm not going to get away with this one, am I, Miles? And he's like, no, sir. And it's just like this fine, powerful Irish actor coming into his prime. And it's just like Star Trek's been here all the way for this Irish actor. And now he's coming to prominence in Europe, too. I don't know if he was bigger there first, but he was pretty young when he did Encounter at Farpoint. So Star Trek's been with this guy all the way. We've developed this character. And that powerful moment, sitting together, it's like, minstrel boy has gone to war. His father's sword he has taken. Did I get that right?
Well, I'm not au fait with the lyrics completely, but yeah, that's the gist of it. I do remember.
I love the Joe Strummer one from Black Hawk Down. I do love the Joe Strummer one from Black Hawk Down.
That's pretty good mix of like an
All versions.
Irish jig, but then kind of blended with this sort of
Irreverent punk.
Middle East Islamic
He
string.
bought that in too. The music in that movie's great. The music in that movie's
really good soundtrack. I could do a whole stream about my favorite.
Let's do that stream, Lance. I want to talk to you about that and how the music. We could do a watch party with that one and talk about just how the music for the Americans, that womp womp, that rock and roll music, womp womp. If they're getting in there, it's a little bit of Hendrix kind of flair to it. And then, like, when the other side gets going, we get that really great, the music for the for the people of Mogadishu, and they have their own music. And then there's like a stronger iteration of it for like the warlords, and just the whole movie is it's a great film. And it was a dark day for America, and it's a weird title. No one gets left behind, and they still kind of forget somebody, but. At the same time, like I remember watching that live on the news and thinking America was going to go nuke these people.
Well, hey,
people were angry over here that we went to feed them and they did that. Like, you won't need food if we do that.
Anything could happen. By the way, on the subject of Babylon 5, which one of your chat people mentioned, huge fan of Babylon 5 actually. And
it's a good show.
Yeah, I mean, it's good writing, great world building. I love the 5 races, and I like again, that's another show with a great sort of overarching story with the shadows and all that stuff. And it's a shame that kind of from season 3 it kept, they were trying to wrap it all up by season 3 because Warner Brothers basically told Straczynski, this is it. It's not going to go again. And then suddenly the show did really good business on something, and then they said, "Oh well, yeah, we're going to give you another season." And this happened twice. So after that, the writing goes into seesaw mode.
My B5 theory is that what happens with them is they run behind production. But while that's happening, there's a rerun of previous episodes. Every time they do it, the story's pretty good. He's very good on his feet, Straczynski, with keeping his story going and managing his personnel. His compassionate thing with Michael O'Hare was really great.
Yeah,
I read about it later.
Yeah.
And then he waited for him to pass away at expense to his own career. J. Michael Straczynski has honor. My hat's off to a man who would do that, and I salute him. But the storyline and the way the Battle of the Line and all the stuff with the first commander, and the way they brought him back, and he became like this transformational figure to give him a little more work. The way they brought back David from Star Trek 3 and 2 to be on Star Trek The Next Generation in that episode Symbiosis, so he could get paid. He was very compassionate, and that makes you root for a guy more. And I was forgiving at Babylon 5, but I wasn't religious about it, and it had a crazy production schedule. But here's my point. Every time they'd fall behind, the refresh of built-up episodes plus whatever new people hadn't seen, they're like, oh, I've just become aware of Babylon 5, because they didn't have the best PR either. So they would, there were new episodes, oh wow. So they would watch the marathon. The marathon would do phenomenal on Sci-Fi or other channels. And then people would be like, we want more Babylon 5. And Straczynski would be like, damn, I was about to move on to comic books, but I did. In fact, I had a whole thing ready to go. I'm going to redraft it. I think that happens a few times. And he has like a luxury that he didn't plan on, a redraft longer ahead, because their production takes so much longer than everyone else's. They have their own problems. And hi, John the Beagle Dad. They have their problems, but also they're sort of... also, they have every problem everyone else could have, plus a few of their own. That's the best way to put it. But please, go on about Babylon 5. That's my theory about how they got renewed.
I don't really have much else to say about it, other than, I am a fan, and I may well do a stream about it at some point. In my book, I did write about which Star Trek films were my favourite in which order, and it was... Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan, obviously, is my number one favourite, kind of the perfect Star Trek movie. And then my second favourite is Star Trek 6, then The Undiscovered Country, then Star Trek 4, Save the Whales, Then Star Trek the motion picture, but the new version. Then Search for Spock. Then Star Trek 5. Whereas before it would have been Search for Spock would have come ahead of the motion picture. But I really like that new version of the motion picture director's cut that they brought out with all the.
Oh, it's the V'gership pays off so much.
Yeah, it's everything about it is so much better, and it's just a really good. I think also watching that as an adult, I went to see that movie as a kid, and I was kind of bored. But as an adult, I've seen it many times. But seeing that version of it as an adult, I really appreciated actually. Pajama costumes aside, which I think were a mistake, this is a really, really good film. And if they
got the brand confusion with Space 1999 in those costumes for fans who are still young.
Yeah, it's funnily enough, I am also a fan of that. I've got 2 eagles from Space 1999 on the shelf behind me. I've got a medical eagle and a command eagle.
It's a fun show. I would love to be given the chance to do Space like 2099 or 2599 because they were moving through time as well. They didn't handle some of the show very well, but there's enough pieces to pick up. I've tried to rewatch it marathon style. The quality's uneven, but episode 2 had Ian McShane, or the first proper episode because it's a 2-part movie.
Yeah, I mean the original running order is different to. At one point, they brought
your
out
running order is different than ours too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they brought out these tapes in the 80s, which were kind of feature film versions, but were basically 2 episodes stuck together that worked, and they did some editing and whatnot. But the season 1 of Space 1999 is excellent. Season 2 is terrible. Season 2 is awful, and the season 2 really it's got a 2-parter in it. I forget the name of it now. I watched it actually just a few weeks ago, and that's the only really good story in season 2 that I'll rewatch, which is when the aliens arrive and they pretend to be humans from Earth, and they're causing all the personnel from Moonbase Alpha to hallucinate. It's kind of cool episode.
I don't remember that one, but there is one I do remember from being a kid, and I haven't rewatched it since. And maybe if you've seen it, you can re-answer my questions. Sure. They go back to Earth, and they're thrown into a time loop. So this doesn't fit with their shared world, but for some reason, and I guess it's because I would know that it was one show leads to the other, even though they're not a totally shared world. When they get back in radio range with Earth for a little while, unless this is the episode you're thinking of, don't they have a pretty normal communication with Earth? And they find out that they're out of sync in time, and they've moved forward much further. The Earth moves faster in time than they're moving. And they might be like going through spurts in time. Anything could happen at any time is what they find out. And like a lot more stuff's happened since they left than they thought. The Earth survived whatever happened. It wasn't so great, but is it our guy Straker from UFO and Shadow that they're talking to when they go back?
I know the episode you're talking about. I mean, there's a couple of episodes that are a bit like that. There's one where the moon duplicates itself at the beginning, and the moon that's in front of them is their future moon, and they've actually all arrived and set up a community there. But the past versions of them can't land there because if they do, they'll all kill each other. So that's one. But it's not that episode you're talking about. The episode you're talking about is in season 2, where at one point there's some kind of weird... Is that
when we change crews, right? There's only one person aside from our principals who goes to season 2. It's that woman.
Yeah,
with the pixie cut.
Sandra Baines. Well, I think there are 4 casts that are in both seasons, which is Alan, the sort of commander of the Eagles, and only because the fans demanded him coming back. When they found out they weren't going to include him, they went absolutely apeshit.
We killed a lot of people off screen between seasons 1 and 2 because we couldn't get people back on their British TV contracts in this weird show that took longer than people needed to. So they get back their money and they get production out of sync with people's contracts or something, or they didn't want to give them
No. That was all down to American producer Fred Freiberger. They basically brought him in to slash the budget.
Star Trek guy.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, largely kind of reviled in the
Yeah, he
industry.
was
And
the Star Trek Undertaker, that's for sure, for season 3 of TOS.
yeah, and I mean, he was not a popular guy with Space 1999, and he kind of misdirected what the season should be about, and sort of it ended up becoming Monster of the Week. Whereas the first season was a lot more grounded. It felt sort of based in a believable semi science fictional universe that you could probably buy into. But season 2 is basically Monster of the Week. You know, and what monster costume can we get hold of from another show this week? There's a lot of that going
Yeah,
on.
there is. And what's funny is Mark, and hello, Miss Katonic. I think I said hello. Mark Harkness points out Barbara Bain and Martin Landau, fresh off being replaced on Mission Impossible by Leonard Nimoy. It's kind of true. And it's another legacy Desi Liu show. They're Paramount now, but they both start with Desi Liu.
Sorry, just muting myself while I'm having a coffee.
Oh no, yeah, I appreciate it. I know. I'm doing it too, on and off. One of our my friend Mark Harkness is pointing out here that, and he's one of our mods, says that Bob Urban and Martin Landau are fresh off of being replaced on Mission Impossible by Leonard Nimoy's Mr. Paris. It's not that fresh. It's a couple. I think is it in a couple of years, but yeah, they got, and it's another legacy show from Desi Liu, so it's kind of got Star Trek in the DNA. So it was cool that Spock went back there. I like Mr. Spock as Paris, and I think William Shatner is in the episode where they have Mr. Paris. And the other person people don't know is on there is our first Adam, who's the DA in the first Law and Order. Sorry, go ahead, Lance.
I think if Leonard Nimoy had been alive at the time, let's say Star Trek had dropped in the time of the streaming services, I think what would have happened with Nimoy is you would have seen him in a lot more feature films and other shows playing all kinds of other roles, because I mean, not only did he get typecast as Spock, which ultimately he, you know, I think ultimately he came to kind of embrace it, shall we say. But in the other roles that he got, even like the roles in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where he's
Spock,
he's fantastic in that. But he
but
still
they
is.
make him Spock.
Yeah, they're still casting him as a kind of doctor and a sort of, he's, you know, they're casting him as a character who's got very Spock-like qualities. So it's not like.
Does he not get drunk in that movie, though, right? Like, that must have been his demand. It's like, I need a human moment. I gotta get drunk with, like, Buckaroo Banzai's sidekick.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he'd been given the chance to do roles very much against his type, I think he would have smashed it. I think he was a very, very capable actor, and obviously he also went on to be a very, very good director.
Could you imagine if he'd been a song and dance man? Because, like, we know he had a lot of talent. He probably had that too. Like, most actors of his time were relatively, for lack of a better term, more well-rounded. I'm not saying he was the greatest, but your own Welsh Richard Burton, man, he sang.
Yeah, I mean, him and DeForest Kelley were probably the two most talented actors of the bridge crew, probably followed by, you know,
James Stewart.
No, I would Nichelle Nichols, I would say.
I buy the Drinker's headcanon on Scotty, and I love that Drinker had headcanon on Scotty. He said that someone asked him, he did not think it was a ridiculous accent, and he goes, I just thought it was a reasonable, futuristic Scottish accent because it was the future.
I mean, when I was a kid, I was very young when I saw Star Trek. It was on repeats, would have been the mid-70s. I thought he was Scottish, but then it wasn't like we were turning on the TV and every 5 minutes, bearing in mind we only had 3 channels when I first watched Star Trek. It wasn't like there was an
Edinburgh News.
No, and it wasn't until we had a detective show come on called, I don't know if you've heard of it, called Taggart. Once we got Taggart, there's been a murder. And, you know.
I call him Teagard. I think he's a great detective.
Taggart.
He should be called Teagard. He'd be better if he's called Teagard. But yeah, is that Ian McShane again?
No. The actor who played the original Taggart is sadly no longer with us. He was a very much a kind of hard-nosed Scottish detective, very believable. And Taggart
was
was
he?
a great show, and I used to stay up and watch that with my parents. And
Who's the
that I
first
think that
Taggart?
was probably I want to say 78, maybe 79.
No, who originated the role? Who are you talking
Oh,
about? Is that
sorry.
guy?
Let me look that up for you real quick.
Sorry, yeah, I know of Taggart, and I think I've seen it, but like in
Mark
the
Mark
United States.
McManus. Mark
Thank you,
McManus.
Mr.
Um,
McManus.
yeah, he was the original Taggart guy, but um, you've had a couple of other people come in. Alex Norton has come in and done the lead, and Siobhan Redmond had been in it for a really long time. She's another great actress. Some really good Scottish actors, including one of the Hobbits. I think got his break in a Taggart. Might have been a Taggart episode,
Martin
if I remember
Freeman.
right. No, one of the two, Merry and Pippin, one of those two. I think he was
Oh,
original.
well, they were. I think it must have been. I'm gonna guess it was Pippin because I think Mary's American.
No, they're both English. No, well, one of them's
Mary
Scottish.
does a Pippin does a good
Um,
American accent.
Pippin is Scottish. Merry is from, I think he's from the Midlands or up north somewhere. He's not a Londoner. But they're both English. They're both English. Yeah, because one of
That
them was
might be my
cast in.
favorite battle scene when Pippin sings because it's
Oh,
different. It's not as powerful as the other ones, but it's really interesting. I love the other ones, but that one I look forward to that one a little bit.
I mean, I don't really call that a battle scene. It's like the Charge of the Light Brigade sort of moment.
Yeah,
It's
and a
marching
homage
into
of
the.
sorts to that.
Yeah, and
Back to
they're all
Osgoliath.
going to die. It's not a traditional battle scene in a sense because you don't really see it all.
Just quick, as
But
a Tolkien fan, what we did see though was the White Wizard driving off the Nazgul. But like the one thing Peter Jackson really tried to get across, he couldn't fully do it. No one can. What they call the black fear of the Nazgul that would affect men. When you would see
right.
the Nazgul, you'd be fear struck. Maybe it didn't affect women. Arwen just goes right up there and pulls off her helmet. She's like, "I'm no man."
Well, she just she couldn't see properly because of the helmet, so it's quite a big helmet. So
And
she could only
was
see
fun.
his like waist, and the bottom of the mace. She couldn't see his face. I don't
What
think.
better place to strike? You know what? I'm glad she took the mask off because she's quite fun to look at. I loved Miranda Odd. I was just like, wow, she's beautiful. I knew we were all supposed to be blown away by Liv Tyler, but in that series, I came away. I was just like, I want to see more movies with
No,
Miranda Otto.
Miranda Otto, at least at that time, I don't think
Gorgeous.
had any work done to her face. Other people, well, you can decide that for yourself. But I find it very unattractive when people, the plastic surgeons in LA, they must make a lot of money, but the women just end up looking very weird. And
Cat-like sometimes, very
cat-like
feline
and sort of
results a
just
lot.
like a mannequin and almost and sort of they just look weird. And where you can see there are some women who've had absolutely nothing done and they're aging gracefully and they're still getting work and they don't look odd, they don't look weird in the roles that they're
Cameron
playing.
Diaz comes to mind. She maybe had a little bit done around her eyes to make her look a bit younger, but that's about it. She looks great.
I mean,
I
like
just saw her on TV the other day.
what's her name from When Harry Met Sally?
Mark Harkness is probably right.
Her career's gone because of that. No, she messed with her face so much. She ended up looking so off that no one would cast her in anything
Well,
anymore. Why would
just
you do that to yourself?
There was the girl from the show The Boys, who went and took the money from that and just like got her face remade into someone else. And people were like, "This was the pressure of men who it could make her look better." I'm like, nobody made her turn herself into a Star Trek creature.
No, I thought she looked absolutely fine before she did
Yeah,
any
she's
of that.
beautiful until she did plastic surgery disasters.
I don't buy into that. This is the pressure, man. That's horseshit.
Miskatonic's right too. Nicole Kidman had like a nice natural beauty. When she when she messed around a little bit with her figure, okay, all right, that's one thing. Considering how she came into our lives is like in a really weird movie where she's real naked for a long time, but the movie's messed up, dead calm. And then like whatever, Practical Magic, she's looking real good, and that might be her best movie, but it's kind of not really anybody's movie because it's like the Witches of Eastwick kind of done a different way.
Yeah, it's I mean, well, I wasn't a fan of Practical Magic. I really liked.
It's not a good movie, but I'll watch them walk around in the belly shirts. Dead Calm is a better movie.
I really liked.
You know, I love Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. No, I mean, here's the thing. Dead Calm's the better movie. It's very small scale. Is Sam Neill the other guy in it?
Yeah, Sam Neill's
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane is the.
Keep Billy Zane away from boats. He's a real jerk when he gets around the ocean. Titanic.
I've met Billy Zane actually, and the first thing I said to him, he was in this green room with me at this film festival, and I said, I hope you don't mind me saying so, but I thought Dead Calm, fantastic film. You were great in it, and he
was great.
He imitated my accent when he replied back because I was so polite and so British, and he said, "I absolutely don't mind at all, old chap. Thank you very much."
Oh yeah, wow! Instant replay of your own voice. How close was he?
I mean, it was pretty close. He was kind of
wow.
He was kind of fun, and he was like,
that's great. That is fun.
It was a crazy little indie film festival where kind of loads of stuff went wrong during the presentation, like part of the set fell down and shit, and he was sitting there. He was sitting there and he was having such fun with it. Whereas Steve Buscemi came over for the same festival, and he just stayed in his room and didn't participate, even though he was going to get an award. And then he went home again.
He's from Long Island. I drank at some of the bar. I drank at that Trees Lounge bar that he did the movie about. It's not too far from where I grew up. Everyone kind of went by that weird place. So, to me,
but
I can understand how someone from Long Island could be that grumpy.
He did go. I know that story about him on 9/11. He went back to his old firehouse, didn't he? That he used to work in. He put on a fireman's uniform and he got stuck in. Isn't that right? I think that's what he did. On 9/11, pretty sure that's what he did.
He was happy to pitch in, and he went down there by himself as a New Yorker who cared, and pitched in for as long as he could. And he was like a secondary responder.
Yeah,
he had the training. He knew what he was doing. He said, "Give me the gear. I'm ready to go in." Then I think they signed off on it. The thing was, they weren't going to turn back anybody who knew what they were doing, including contractors with the right equipment and qualifications to help with that rescue. Yeah. It was all hands on deck. And the first person, it's weird, one of the most reprehensible things is raising money falsely in the name of 9/11, but the first person arrested for false information about 9/11 was arrested at like 4 p.m. on 9/11 for misdirecting the police.
Damn.
Yeah, just for like some kind of bipolar, like self-important, grandiose fit. They're like, I know where there's some people trapped. It's like, jackass. They did a couple of years in jail for that. But
I saw the documentary on that woman who, impersonated being the widow of someone who died, and she was even part of a fundraising initiative. She was a head of a committee for something, and ultimately it all unraveled and turned out she didn't have a fiance who died in Tower 1 or whatever, and it turned out she wasn't there. And anyway, the whole thing completely unraveled, and I don't know what happened there, but yeah, that was kind of nuts.
There was far too many sad scams around it for me to care to remember any given one. Fuck you to the people who did those. May you rot in a special place in hell.
Yeah.
I'm a New Yorker. I saw a little too much of it for me to be objective or talk about it.
Sure.
I think I told you this before, but we mentioned Black Hawk Down. I was so like despondent. There was two movies in theaters the week after 9/11. One was Pearl Harbor. I passed on that, and I went to see Black Hawk Down because I kind of liked Ridley Scott. It was a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I went to see the movie, and the thing was, I was upset, and like everyone else in New York, I might have done some drinking, and I might have been a little bit wasted when I saw the movie. And I think that's like everyone in like there was no law and order like as fact of like civil behavior. People were just too glum to do anything wrong, and every cop was tied up. So it was like in that movie theater, people were just drinking away. And I just remember during Black Hawk Down, when the engagement starts, every time an American took out somebody, they were closely enough aligned to the people who'd attacked us. We could smell the 9/11 destruction in the theater, and everybody was rooting and cheering like a football game every time that we got one of them. And when our guys made it out, the gun run by the helicopters, everyone was cheering, applauding, USA, USA. A lot of people screaming "F you" because it's New York. It was emotional. The most emotional thing I've ever seen in a movie, and beyond the author's intent or the level of the quality of the movie, which is still a good movie, but at the end, when Minstrel Boy was playing, I think more than a few people, including myself, were quietly crying after the release of emotion. And that's what moved. If I could write a book like yours, that's my Black Hawk Down experience.
Funnily enough, Black Hawk Down was a birthday party of mine because it was released in January of 2002. We got it about a month after you, and so I decided, okay, I'm celebrating my birthday in the winter because Black Hawk Down's going to be good. I'd already read the book. As soon as I read the book, I wanted to write the screenplay. And then, literally within days of me finishing reading the book by Mark Bowden, it was announced.
He's written several good ones.
Yeah, he has. He's many.
Perfect Storm?
Yeah, and he did the
Killing
the
Pablo?
Killing Pablo, that's the other one I've read. But it was announced in the press they were already going into production. I thought, shit, that was quick. And so I took 30 people to see that, also at the Empire Screen 1. And that's one of the birthday trips that I completely forgot. So it's not in the book because it comes in that sort of period of my life where I had a lot of memories I lost because of the brain injury that I had. And one of my friends who read the book said, you didn't include the birthday trip to see Black Hawk Down. And I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about that. And one of the things that was useful for me when I wrote the Pegasus Bridge script was that film was because it manages a very similar number of characters. And
I just want to put this in context. It was more than a few weeks after 9/11, right? So I think it might have been holiday time, but here's the thing for me was one, it's all a blur, but two, the fires downtown burned until Christmas from that.
Right.
So the stench, the whole time, it's blurred for me, and New York smelled like death for like a whole year, and no one who lived in this battlefield could ever forget it. And I was there on the first day of a war. You know, I was much more fortunate and further away than most. But I guess my Black Hawk Down experience was it at least had gotten to be around Christmas time. But it's all those days, so many funerals and other things. It was a blur.
Yeah.
The book was great. I remember I went and got the book, but but in New York, in the shadow of what was once in the non-shadow of once the towers, something like what was 9/11 was something like 6 to 8 weeks before Christmas or something like that, 10 weeks. it wasn't that
Yeah.
long in the scope of things, you know. And I just remember seeing the movie, and where I saw it in Manhattan. Everybody was just like, it was like a football game.
Mm.
We were just like we so I don't think the war, if we had started the attack on Afghanistan, I think we attacked them in December, so we maybe had been at war for 3 or 4 weeks. No one was happy about it, but it was about time someone went after these guys. You know, people just a release. It was like, this isn't going to go well, but let's start it now.
Did you serve yourself?
No, I was like, you know, I did consider, and I talked to like the military recruiters, but then like it was obvious pretty quickly that the war was being handled in a way that military people, and I was old enough to have friends who were in the military, were like, you might not want a part of this. And like honestly, my goal was I can be in the Air Force and guard water, so someone else can do stuff. So I'm like, you know what, someone else can guard that water. And honestly, I disagree with the way the Afghanistan operation was ran from day one.
Well, I
But
mean,
that's
yeah,
a
that's
different stream.
let's not go down that rabbit hole, but that's a whole other conversation. Well, look, I've got to get off and get to bed shortly. Was there anything else you wanted to ask me about Star Trek? Because we jumped around
Yeah,
a
we
bit on the
got
topic.
tangential. Well, you know
My
what?
apologies to the chat.
Not a problem. I'll be here for a while longer, and it was great to have you on because you know what? We get to have these great conversations where we can talk about, like you said, like power of film, the power of all this sci-fi. Star Trek leads on a tangential sort of course sometimes, and you know what? Now I can just refocus on the Section 31 that people were here to talk about. Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I mean,
Last question.
I was actually looking for it earlier, but I couldn't find it.
It'll,
I will
tomorrow
watch it
morning when
so
you
that
wake up.
I'll watch it so that next time we talk, I can have a proper conversation with you about it. And I mean, the other reason I pop reached out just for the benefit of the chat is, I mean, one of the reasons my channel is where it is. I mean, it's not obviously hard work is involved, and I have worked bloody hard, but it's because other channels have supported me. Other YouTubers have supported me. They've come on my channel from time to time. You know, people have done the same thing to me. I've been streaming on my own. Somebody's seen me streaming on my own and said, "Hey, Lance, I can pop on for 20 minutes or whatever." And sometimes you know you want to do a stream on your own, but other times it's always just nice to vary that content. So for me, supporting smaller channels is, as far as I'm concerned, is an integral part of what a YouTuber should do, because I view it very much as a community, and we don't all have to agree on what shows we like and all of that. We don't have to agree on social and political opinion. What we need to have is common ground enough in our interests and our creative passions, in this case Star Trek, where we can break bread and have a conversation. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
usually
I can't
in
wait.
usually in that conversation, interesting topics and chat will arise. So I like to,
We
you
should
know,
watch your favorite
people
episode of
support my
whatever.
channel. I like to do the same. I like to do the same wherever I can. So,
You've been very
there you go.
generous to this channel with your time, and I'm enjoying the book. Thank you so much. I'll put the link in
Yeah,
the
thanks,
description
man.
because we get a lot of watch through later. Well, hey, you're gonna have the only face reveal of Admiral Teag, and please
Yeah.
feel better. I've been listening to your show, and you've been hacking away. It sounds like it's getting a little worse. Maybe you're clearing out.
No,
Please
it's
take care of yourself, my friend.
it's turned into a dry cough now. Whereas before I
Not
had
produ-
all the phlegm. It's not
So
fun.
I guess you're
mean,
coughed
listen,
out.
yeah, physically, listen, physically I'm way better because before I had loads of other symptoms. I had a high temperature and all kinds of shit going on. But I sweated the thing out and did a second course of antibiotics. But it is just the case, unfortunately, with these kinds of bugs. Anything to do with my chest takes ages. So I'm stuck with it for a bit. But
Well,
listen,
I'm with you, my friend, and I'll be with you in a parasocial sense when I go read the book later on tonight after I wrap this
no,
up.
No worries. Well, warp speed, and I'll speak to you soon.
I can't wait to see you again. Feel better, all right?
All right, thanks, man. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. All right, Lance S.A. Nielsen, author of Silver Screen Journeys. It was great to see him. And over on X, I got a question for Critically Thinking and Drinking. He says, shows and movies are better for social media. Are TV shows and social media better off for having a voice now that they've lost the narrative control they traditionally have? Yes and no, right? So if you use your social media wrong, like anyone else, you're going to alienate people and you're going to go into the death spiral. And that's what happens to the Star Trek way of doing things. Star Trek had a crazy turn of events where they couldn't really keep things cohesive or coherent. It was kind of a disaster. But they used their social media to blame the fans and attack them. So they were worse off, right? Because they were going to use it as a weapon. They were never going to use it to communicate in fairness. They were going to try to program and instruct. Other shows, though, are better off. It comes down to the enlightenment of the show. Social media, you know what I mean? Not everyone has the cleverness of you, my friend. But if I was going to start a TV show, I would get you to be the social media advisor because you do a great job with my stream. That was an incredible achievement the other day, and I thank you for that. That's up there, pinned to my channel highlights. And 80 of us now and all over on the different platforms. We had Lance S.A. Nielsen. We had a little bit of a tangential Star Trek commercial conversation. Let me go back to the Star Trek at hand. Okay, here's the deal. In the Star Trek at hand, the problem is this. It's not very good. I have predictable things that I think will happen because they always do this to us. They're never really that intelligent about how they put this together. I've heard that the story of how they get Giorgio back from the other dimension and mirror her and make her into some kind of ridiculous sympathetic character is beyond preposterous and beyond dumb and beyond boring, but we do it anyway. And like the thing is, it's so dumb and beyond stupid and beyond boring that we get away from it quick enough. I'm looking at that emoji. I can't tell what it was. It didn't come across StreamYards really well. YouTubers, mark my words. Unfortunately, if you don't have it, and hi, Locked and On. I think I managed to type that out to you earlier, but yeah, hopefully Lance will feel better. Oh, I can see what it is now. Is it glasses? I can't really tell. It's too small for me to see on YouTube. Oh yeah, it's glasses, Queen cooked together. It's beer mugs. Okay, blow some ginger root. Yeah, and after, do you know this root? Mandrake. What can it do? It can cure diseases. And if too much is taken, madness, followed by that. Right? Remember that? What movie is that from? Who knows? Sleep and rest do wonders. Your body wants it. And like, that's my favorite thing. Just, you know what? Am I sleeping a lot because I knew Section 31 was coming and I'm depressed? Or am I sleeping a lot because, it's just been so cold out and I don't have any energy? I don't know which one it is. I'd rather still be too cold than too hot. I'm a northern boy. I'm a New Yorker. I can live with it. And I just want to, again, thank all of you for being here. Here's my Section 31 information. Let's see if I can go through this linearly. By the way, they did read my comment on Film Threat, which was not a super chat. And they Alan sort of nodded in assent, but Chris was already grieving. So it tells you where they're at with their Star Trek fandom. Only a few years separates people who love Star Trek TNG from Star Trek, Star Trek TOS and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We got a golden age of Star Trek that was 5 to 8 years in length. It was a good shows, done well for the most part, and a lot of them may have gone a little too far in some places. Then we got Voyager and other stuff. 14 votes. Thank you, guys. We're doing great on YouTube. People through here, 15 likes. And let's just talk about Section 31. So, the trailers, all the complete edge talk, that seems to be most of the movie. This is an Edge Talk movie with Edge Talk edgy trailers. It's dumb. It's a dumb fucking movie. All right, here's what happens. This Grigoriou doppelganger clone replacement multiverse person is on some space station. So she owns a bar or a casino there, and they go there, and she's like a cabaret performer. So again, this obsession with cabaret and nightclub performers, showing again, proving, if you would, that the showrunners peaked in junior college or college. It's like freshman year of college, these people peaked. You know what I mean? It's like everybody has a black leather jacket. Everybody's like the weirdos that, like, if you went away to college, everyone had a few friends who were like experimenting and being a little too weird. Like that, they were all like the weirdos that like your weirdest of friends hung out with. Or if you yourself, like, you know, embrace the weirdness of having weird friends and go for it. You know what I mean? It's cool. Just keep perspective. Like moderation is a beautiful thing. That's why I'm here. You know, I mean, I knew people who knew Party Monster. I knew people who knew the guy that Party Monster snuffed. Drano. What a way to go. Oh, horrible. What a horrible deletion. But let's talk about the next thing I know is, so Section 31 shows up at this starbase. Where the hell in time it is? It would seem the Grigoriou that we know is, there's one well back in the past and one way forward into the future. This is not as bad of a movie as I thought it was, because I thought it was going to be a movie. I didn't know that when I started hearing more about it that it wasn't the project that it was said to be. I knew that there were several iterations of Section 31, but from the time I heard it was a go, I only heard it would be a movie or a streaming event that might go like a few episodes. So this is the best case scenario. It's a broken off pilot, which means it stopped. Something was stopped. Okay? Something was stopped. The broken off pilot is, they said. If it was some other sci-fi show, it would do wonders, but again, I say, I don't care. And it's not a Star Trek that I believe in any way. But, for that one. And we get this situation where we have, there's the dialogue is, why are you on my space station? And I think it was Chris Gore said, Michelle Yeoh is not going to wow anybody. They've never read The Room on their Star Trek show. They think that she's really, really cool and this badass. And I can say this is true. She really is sort of a drag, and sort of like when your grandma dresses up for Halloween and tries to pretend she's a hooker or a madam. It doesn't work. It's not great. Then later on, we see it moving on to stuff where it gets real weird, and they are a Dirty Dozen-like team, and they're going to undermine the captain from yesterday's Enterprise, because that's what they do. Rachel Garrett is now a Section 31 plant, and I guess that means the Battle of Neandra 3 was a Section 31 operation. And what are you going to do? That's the way it is. At any rate, Mark Harkness says Section 8 starring Reg Barkley and Max Klinger, a much better show. I would watch that. I would definitely watch that before I watched any of this. And I'm sorry to say that, you know what? Unification, a lot of people are viewing it as a goodbye. I think Nerdrotic was saying 10 years on the shelf. I think people would just shake it off in 3. Unification showed another Unification-like project would have people fine in like 7.5 minutes. We saw that. If you could do that good again, but we couldn't ask for that much. But you know what? It's in Section 31. They go on some batshit mission. We have one guy who's a mech warrior, so he's got like a Halo outfit or some shit like that. So that's going on. It's like they're mixing and matching. Like Felipe Gregorio is some kind of fucking nightclub performer, and she's got an outfit from like 100 years ago. Like it's like literally like something that would have been cool on The Matrix. The Matrix, a really long time ago, and wow, 91 of you on X and over on YouTube 4. Just again saying hello, Tetrarch. What's up, guys? YouTube, help me out. Do me a favor. Tweet out that I'm live. Help keep the stream like going. Help me get up to like say 75 people so this stream can have some relevance. Tomorrow we're gonna have Section 31. I don't really want to do it, but you guys wanted to do it, and I see people kind of coming back online. I appreciate it. If you're watching me and your browser's closed, it doesn't get registered, by the way. So if you have a second browser to open up to listen to me, to give me the view, I appreciate it. I'm kind of in a view challenge way. I'm coming off what I view as a shadow ban. What happened was this. I talked about news, and ever since then, they really have come after me and punished me. But what I said, I stand behind, and you should watch my video on the Daniel Penny verdict. And I was very upfront about it. And I don't think that I should have been punished because I waited. When I bring you information, I usually will try to do things like wait for the trial to be over. The verdict was out. The trial was more than finished. I should have been given full latitude to express myself under freedom of speech, and I don't feel that I got that. So watching me and helping me out is a blow for freedom of speech, and that's important. And an independent reviewer who's going to tell you and that you know where you come from and you can have a kind of a personal relationship with for now, in a way that hopefully we can grow together. And someone needs to explain to me why Discord has so much relevance to us these days, and whether or not I might need a Discord to run my channel. One more interface to work with would be difficult, but it would be fun to see it. Why do I feel like they have a bunch of things on a wall and close their eyes and throw darts at it and combine it? Yeah, it's a bullshoot, right? It's a bullshoot. It's like in America, I don't know about Europe, but it's at European bars in America, at Irish bars and British bars. When you go there, there's a bullshoot. At night, like after hours in New York, the Irish bars will lock the door. Everyone will give $5, right? And everyone then combines two forms of gambling, which is that's an Irish thing. You're already drinking, right? So like everyone combines two forms of gambling and drinks. And what we do is, and it's a New York thing too, because we got to gamble faster and harder than anybody else. So we take a card game. High card gets 3 darts, and if you 1 to 3 darts. I've seen 1, I've seen 3, and if you throw a bullseye. Life in New York, guys. If you throw a bullseye, you win the bullshoot money. But if no one throws a bullseye, the money rolls over. And then they do it again the next night. They might shoot 3 times. What happened in one bar that I know of was the bullshoot. The bar was really popular, right? They were having $1,000 bullshoots every night. So everyone thought it was fun. It rolled over for 2 nights. It was like $2,000. One weekend night comes by, so then the bull shoots up to like $3,500. By like Sunday night, Monday Night Football, it's getting around that the bull shoot at this bar in fucking Queens has got a bull shoot for like 10 grand. You have like serious professional gamblers and lowlifes. Radioactive hell! Good to see you, my man. You have serious professional gamblers and lowlifes coming to this bar. And the bartenders are starting to get scared because it's getting around. Like some of the numbers getting around aren't like believable. And like, places get robbed in New York. Can you believe it? So this place gets to the point where their bull shoot is like 12 grand. So what they did was they broke it up into 4 $4,000 rounds, and they played until they won and got rid of all of it. And they made sure everybody, they had enough winners out there. They seeded the atmosphere. They used social media, and because the mafia was coming next or something like that. I mean, we're talking about like too much cash, and this was a while ago when $12,000, $14,000 was a serious amount of money. And $12,000, $14,000 is an amount of money that's in question. In another really serious thing that I've heard, there are rumblings. And now I guess we'll get to some stuff. First of all, I want to thank Dave C. for having me on to talk about Galactica 1980 last night in a long stream where we had a lot of fun. And we talked about a lot of stuff. And we saw, what basically was a bait and switch comic in bad faith was my feeling. See, my thing is, I don't have tons of comic expertise, but I do know bullshit when I see it, and I do know a scam. And what was going on with this one was, we had a situation with the people from the Battlestar Galactica comics where the license was Galactica 80. So you get the Battlestar out of there, right? And I guess they didn't have the rights to have the Battlestar or something. So it was the most limited rights they could get. The guy who drew the cover didn't draw the comics. And so the cover, people, it looked edgy, it looked great. But the inside, it sucked. It sucked. In issue 1, and issue 2, they had letters of endorsement responding how great it was. Their reactions to the cover from before the thing came out. Issues like it was 4 issues. Issues 2, 3, and 4 only sold the RoboCop comic, which had a great cover. Cover guy and the inside art guy, totally different people. Not a reflection of what you got. The inside art was terrible. The story sucked and was based on like several other tropes and rushed, stupid, and dumb. But yeah, the house does always win. In this case, the house was going to get robbed and really lose everything. And people's lives were at risk. And again, Radioactive, who's with me sometimes, I hail him. See, I got to go check the weight of the darts, kind of like the dice. There's got to be something going on there. There might be. There very well might be something going on there. Who knows? There's something going on with Star Trek. It's not really realistic. This gambling thing is so much worse. This, like, her casino, surely it's not Quark's. Surely it's got nothing to do with that. It doesn't seem very cool or very good. It seems sort of rotten and sort of stupid. I'm not looking forward to it, but here's the thing. The watch parties for this have consistently been fun. We've got Sean Carter. It'll be available in the pin posts on 2 different places to watch along with us. And what I'm saying is siphon the views down to 1 and help me strike a blow for pop culture. If you have curiosity in this project, I give you a chance to see it. Let's make me the king of watch parties, and I will then say it's terrible. So if you make me the biggest independent voice in that community, I can then sort of seize some control of the narrative. Will they send a hitman for me? I don't know. Probably not. Will they try other dirty tricks on me? I'll probably have problems. But I don't care. I love Star Trek, and my dream of being a Star Trek writer was destroyed by the way that these people destroyed my Star Trek. So, you know what? I'll go into Section 31, and I'll keep Alan Ang, who's a great film critic's criticisms and thoughts in mind that if it wasn't Star Trek, and I'll try to assess it. But I don't think it was a good, mediocre thing. And by the way, you know, Locked It On saving Star Trek is a big task. You know what we need? When we talk about saving Star Trek, let's bring up a beautiful lady. Let's have a moment with Hoshi.
Incoming transmission.
Welcome to Saving Star Trek, a show talking about one of my favorite shows, Enterprise. I am Linda Park. I play Hoshi Sato and also Empress Sato. So enjoy this show. I love that it's finding a whole new life on the streaming services. And you better hit that like button or Empress Sato will not be happy. I mean, she could make a storm happen, and she could really make your life hard. Anyways, enjoy the show, hit that like button, and thank you for being a fan of Enterprise.
Did she know that one of our favorite things about her is that she does the nonverbal communication so well and give us that little click at the end? If you notice, I answer her back with the Enterprise communicator beep. Because I love Hoshi. She's great. You know what? We won't have an episode of Enterprise Friday. Friday at 9:30, the same time as our Saturday show. JT, Sean, and myself will be here. And we are going to see if we can get Resolute Germ as well. And we are going to watch Star Trek Section 31. And we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to being with my friends. The watch party is always a blast, especially with all of you. Spread the word. Sorry, X, my other device turned off. YouTube has become such a multi-pronged effort. You know what? Let's just say it's enjoyable to be engaged on so many levels. I thought when I had 2 screens I'd be set, but I guess I just need a third one to leave permanently open. Huh! Oh, the life of a YouTuber. I need another screen. But you know what? And by the way, thanks for the 1923 success. The last 1923 upload really went well. It caught fire today. It hit 90 views. 90 views in 2 days means it's getting watched like basically twice an hour. So thank you for that one, guys, and thank you for helping me out with that. And thank you, Hoshi. I guess you know what? Like sometimes I get so caught up in how much I love you guys.
Because I can.
I become effusive. I become as effusive as I can. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. The other device finally kicked in. Let's see if there's a backlag of messages on that one. I'm watching it. I got to cover a lot of range. It's a darn good thing that my streaming chair has wheels, man. I am all over the place. I got wheels of fire. Ooh, yeah, she is really beautiful. She is so beautiful. And she looks great still. That show's 24 years ago. She looks the same, and I don't think there was anything done. I mean, you guys be the judge. She's a little dirty here because Hoshi's been crawling around being an action hero. But I think this, we're still in peak Linda Park. And here she is next to our beautiful Jolene Blaylock. Let's see. Let's get that comment down so we can see Jolene's washboard abs. And just, I don't know which pretty girl I like better. And Malcolm's just there for you ladies. Enjoy Malcolm. You know what? Let's keep going. This is true, by the way. We outperform Strange New Worlds all the time as far as watch parties go. And we can always attract more people to that. I suspect the Saturday watch party will be bigger. But here's the thing. The Friday watch party, who knows? Maybe it's a flash in the pan. Maybe there's enough to talk. I myself have gone out of my way to make sure that I haven't used it in the overt banner of my show. There might be a way that you could say I used it in tagging and stuff like that. And by the way, this is a personal thing. I noticed that, like, hats off to Doomcock. He didn't hashtag Section 31 when he talked about it, and he didn't use... You didn't use hashtags for Star Trek either. He stayed away from that. I don't know if it was because everyone just generally understands that that's how you deny a show the traction of your social media voice. All of us together, apes together, apes alone weak, apes together strong, right? Like they say in that movie. Star Trek fans alone weak, apes together, Star Trek fans together strong. So you know what? We have that ability to be stronger and to outperform and outdo some of these terrible things that I don't know why that's up there, but that was for the other day for when there was problems in LA. And if you do want to help people, start by helping our veterans. And you know what? I left it up for a moment, so let's give this again. This charity checks out, by the way. You guys can check out that charity. You want to help people in LA, help the veterans first, right? The Hollywood people who are really rich, they'll probably see to each other first, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to jinx anybody's. I mean, Hollywood's really... I saw Access Hollywood last night, and I asked myself, who's getting more out of the Katy Perry benefit concert for the victims? I'm not saying that she has bad intentions, but, like, when's the last time anyone cared about her music? She releases a video, and it's basically like a softcore porn. And the only reason for the song is to enable the video. Saving Star Trek is a big task. OnlyFans could do such. Yes, OnlyFans could save Star Trek. OnlyFans could save Star Trek. Now I understand. The OnlyFans together confused me. I'm like, is he talking about Linda? No. Okay, cool. Yeah. Fans can save Star Trek. Fans have saved it before. There's been Star Trek protests outside TV stations when they stop showing it, including in syndication. People love the show when it's done right. And if these people hate Star Trek and want to escape from it and won't do it the right way, well, that is why you fail. You're in denial of what you are. And when you realize that what you are is a great show, when you realize that what you are is Star Trek, get out of denial of what you are. Be something better than this third-rate garbage that you're throwing at us. You don't even try to write Star Trek. To the Star Trek writers, you don't even... Yeah, it's always the Vulcan. Star Trek writers, you know what? You are just doing a terrible job. And I want to thank also Dave Blast for being polite to me and being nice to me. on YouTube, on X, after I initially made some maybe not so very well advised comments about what was going on, and I maybe just had a bad read on things going on, and I apologized already, so I'm not going to go back there. But Blast accepted what I said, and I owned it. But it wasn't bad. It was just like I thought it was another LA fire. I didn't realize that 10% of their city had been burning at one time, and that's fucked up, and that's on them. And I hope that that gets dealt with, and it should be looked into. It really should be. And if people are accountable in a criminal manner, it should be dealt with. I mean, I don't have to tell you anything you don't know. And people keep on, you know what, set your notifications and have you set your notifications for my channel in general. As you can see, engagement getting a little better. I had to stick it out to get you guys here. It's worth it. I thank you. Is this a raid from somewhere? It's I know, now I understand. I made a mistake. You know, when you see the word only after fans, you get I think in the future try to use only the fans, because I think, you know, the great Doomcock might have caught that one. Admiral Teag, hundreds of thousands of chats and super chats behind reading stuff the way Doomcock does. Doomcock can suss up the meaning from anyone, including me, and I mangle some chats. Oh, the chat film threat read was, sounds dumber than the dumbest episode of Voyager. And Alan just sort of gave a knowing sort of assent, and Chris was already grieving. But what I'll say is this, I think the film threats really run well, because I think what happened was, the reason why I got read, even though it was a non-super chat, aside from the fact they generously do read some, they weren't really in that mode at the moment they did it. I think one of their mods was like, I was just vociferous because I was so angry. Now, I wasn't just dominating. You can't dominate that stream, but I was like, you know, commenting about every 35 seconds. I was like, Aah! And it's like, thank you, Tetrarch, for coming back. If I could hold this many people for a while, it would be a thrill. People are holding 20 and 30 people just like holding themselves hostage, in my opinion, sometimes. You know what? Let's talk about something else that's going on. The bases were loaded. It's in the air. And I applaud Anti-Derivative Jill for condemning Captain Infinity in so many words, and that's the last time I'm ever going to speak his name. I think everyone's united on this, and I think everyone's had enough. I don't think it was right to put Anti-Derivative Jill's face on a fucking... on a Yahtzee. The F word was my concession, was my mistake. I had to buy it back. But I'll use the F word before I use the other word, because I prefer that, and I mean it. A fucking Yahtzee, and I probably lost monetization right there, but who cares? The monetization got you guys here. That's the only reason I do it. I turn that shit down to minimum. But you know what? Onto the face of my friend, you know, my colleague, my friend. I'll call her friend. And she validated that by liking the tweet. Meant a lot to see that everyone seems to be on the same page. That, you know what, some people, you know, I'm not saying cancel anybody, but if that's your form of entertainment, you know what, if that's what you think is funny, putting down people, putting the face of a mother of children on Frau Goebbels and attacking her, you know what, like, what kind of a monster are you? You know what, just leave people alone and go out and do your own thing. Yeah, radioactive, exactly. Everyone's, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. This is this is what happened today, out of nowhere, right before I go on my show. It's brought to my attention because, you know, people look out for each other. That finally there's been a general move to get rid of this renegade who just, you know, stole content from Sci-Fi Nation, and Sci-Fi Nation got the deletion on his channel, and it's gone, and everyone's glad it's gone. And on the channel that this guy had, he celebrated the deaths of United States soldiers, at least one from combat wounds, and both because they were fathers of people he hated. And one of those people was me, Admiral Teag. And my father was my biological father. It wasn't my dad. Don't think it didn't sting as much to sit in the parking lot in a limousine and you pull out your phone and you see this notification, and you look at it, and your name is in the stream name, and it's just like they're roasting the guy, literally, and he was a soldier who fought for this country in Vietnam and was poisoned by Agent Orange and died of that, and you're going to, I mean, you know what, like, what kind of a person are you? You know what, let's take a closer look.
Enhance 15 to 23.
And you know what? We know you're out there, and you have no power over me. And you know what? Like, where's your manliness?
Find this man.
Where's your manhood?
How dare you?
How do you tweet out such horrible
He had a
things?
mechanical arm.
And you know what? As far as your health updates,
I don't care.
and you know what?
I've gone too far in a few places.
Hell no, I haven't. I haven't gone far enough. I'm going a little farther in a few more places. I freaking had it over the course of 2 years, this kind of gutter treatment where you would roast someone's father's death and have a celebration of the death of a United States soldier. You know what? It's wrong to do. Just because it's my dad doesn't let it off the hook. And he did it to LDG as well. So that's just a pattern. And you know what? I haven't talked about it. I've tried to be above it. But it's all over X today. And the show is on X too. So you know what? Naming names. I named it once. I'm not going to name it again. Time Travel Weasel is a piece of garbage. The people who go to his channel for that kind of based amusement, you've got, like, it's, and I don't mean based in a cool way. I mean base. Despicable, dishonorable. And last night when I ran into Comic Relief Crusader, he was being difficult and challenging me on every word. I say to you right now, live by your words and denounce this guy, and let's disarm and we'll be a little more civil to each other. I don't fucking like you, and you don't have to like me, but we can live in the social media world without butchering each other. It didn't help you to come after me. And I have had problems since I've had to fend off your bullshit. So we can stop that now. I respect the fact that you at least chimed in the condemnation after you made a horrible mistake trying to re-empower the guy. And Jill liked my tweet, okay? She liked my response to her. And that means to me that she means what she says. She didn't really leave the door open to the forgiveness for this guy. Because believe me, Scotty will have a whim. Let's call it a whimsical moment. Scotty will have a whimsical moment, and he will tweet out again about this guy and give him more oxygen. And that's not what we want to do. And when he does that, don't retweet him, don't engage with it, and don't let this guy get any oxygen. The lies die in darkness. All right? Fire can't breathe without oxygen. The truth lives in the light. Lies die in darkness. We need to get away from the lying. I ask my Star Trek friends, from this day forward, be more collegial and less rivalrous, and you'll see a change in me. And a rising tide brings in all ships. You have just done the best possible thing and opened up the sea gates of our North Seaport. You have opened up greater avenues than we've ever had before. If you stick by your oath, if you leave Time Travel Weasel to his methods, if you leave him to that, he's powerless. If no one acknowledges him, he's powerless. He lives in lies. Everything the guy says is a lie. Am I saying to cancel him? No. Make your own freaking decisions. He's got the freedom of speech to be a jackass. Or does he? He lives in New Zealand, doesn't he? Well, we have a little more power now than we ever had before. And between the 3 shows that he's harassing, there's like 6,000 subscribers. So you know what? Maybe we'll 4,000 subscribers. But here's the thing. That's a lot of people. So what if 40% of us are the same people? A lot of people on this channel, by definition, don't subscribe to those other channels. I don't say that I 100% endorse everything they say or agree with their Star Trek views, but they're okay people most of the time, and they're trending towards being better people a lot of the time. This was a major step for everyone, and I applaud it. And I applaud it because I have taken a backseat to the bickering and fighting for long enough for me to be able to opinionate this one time. My last time addressing this was because Tony resurrected this, and I'm going to say what it is. It's simple blackmail is what I've been told. This guy goes around and shakes down people for cash and won't leave them alone until they pay him. Well, meth costs money, right? I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't allow this guy in my community. He shouldn't be allowed in any community that cares about his subs. And you know what? His name is banned in the chat for a reason. He's banned from the community for a reason. He's not going to come in here and cause problems. Whoa! Let's go with this one. All right, RRTNZ's out there. And we'll talk more Star Trek in a moment. I had to, this, I'm sorry, in social media and in being a YouTuber, unfortunately, and now it's spread to X, some of this stuff was about my channel. Some of this stuff was about my dad. Let's read RRTNZ's very generous New Zealand Super Chat. Apparently, Shatner's toupee got stolen during filming of Arena in 1967. Shatner was furious, but Nimoy replied, hair today, Goran tomorrow. See, I knew that was in jest because William Shatner's hair has, of course, always been real. But everyone locked it on loves it. You know what? Seriously, if you're going to go around blackmailing people, if you're going to go around committing extortion, here's what I say to people that are being bothered by this madman. First of all, be very careful. He has no power if you follow terms of service very carefully. Second of all, go on with a plan, because in a little while he'll move on. He only has anything because we feed him by responding. Let this be the last day. Let this be our last battlefield. I am Admiral Teag. I lead the only exclusively Star Trek show on YouTube that I know of now. I am Star Trek. It's not Star Trek until I say it is. And I say to you, with an open hand, I accept all of you and all your past transgressions. Now, we ain't all going to be streaming together. Some of us might, but there's a few I know ain't. But this bickering and this senseless fighting and this invoking of this freaking bully to sabotage your friends, you know what? People who are having cash problems, save that screenshot and go to the police. It's called racketeering. Incorporate. Protect yourself even more. You are not allowed to make a threat of yourself and then demand protection from yourself. That is racketeering. We know people in New Zealand. We know people who can help us get in touch with the police. We know people. We're not going to take it anymore. And you think you can mouth off about Jacinda Ardern all day or whatever. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. We know how they feel about you saying these things. We just... Screenshots go both ways, buddy. You know, you live in a glass house. So back off. You made a lot of enemies. A lot of people haven't liked you for a long time. You wrote your own ticket out of town. Stay on the edge of town where you belong with the lowlives and the scum. You tismatic idiot. Blackmail is illegal, but you would implicate yourself whatever crime you're being blackmailed for. No. Here's the thing. No one committed a crime. It was selling protection. This is called racketeering, my friends. When you say to Stark of Iron or someone like that, you give me money or I'm going to be on your back and I'm going to go after your show nonstop. And you got that kind of thing. You can't say do what I want or else to any American. You can't do it. It's called racketeering. The RICO laws are real. No one's moving to get rid of the organized crime laws. No one wants the good old days of that back. Racketeering laws are good. Bobby Kennedy's father, RFK Sr., wrote them. His son's in there now. Yeah. All right. Let's go to something a little more interesting. You know what? For a couple of days straight now, they've been talking about two things that never get talked about after an election's won. They talked about our international RICO statutes that play in. There are international, I think it's probably even worse. Here's the thing. If the people who are being menaced by this madman take the time to incorporate on LegalZoom, he then is bothering a business which compels investigation, people. Guys, am I the only one who has a Google machine? Every single law firm in the world. Google the Universal Commercial Code. the Universal Commercial Code of Commerce, and other things like that. It's racketeering. I cannot, listen, if I tell Tony Stark of Iron that unless he does what I want and has me on his show and gives me money, I'll make things hard for him, you know what? That's illegal right there. That's called racketeering. It's called selling protection, all right? If I go into your state, this is like this. This is how it happens in crime movies. You know, it's like, hey, nice bar you got here. It's a nice place. Be a shame if something happened. You know, wouldn't take much for a place like this to get a bad reputation and go out of business. It could even be a fire. Although that would probably mean that you would get insurance money, because I wouldn't count on that. I'd probably imagine what would happen if there was a robbery here, kind of money you would lose, not to mention someone could get killed. We could prevent that from happening. That is illegal. That's called a shakedown, all right? That's racketeering, and it's against the law. And we're not taking it anymore. Now, the other thing is, you're not going to defame us, all right? You can make any memes you want all day. And by the way, you're terrible at it, so if you ever have any problems, like, I'll recommend some apps to you to get at least the memes that I object to up to spec. This is kind of like when the United States offered to build a bunch of bases in Afghanistan so that we could destroy them because they had nothing for us to go after. That's how pointless that one was. But you know what? The mistakes that people made were this. You do not negotiate with freaking gangsters, terrorists, or blackmailers. And this guy has elements of all three. You don't negotiate. And you know what? You ban them of your community and you take the lumps. I did. And for 2 years, people were telling me things like, he's got the freedom of speech to have that black mass about an American soldier who died from wounds received in battle. Hell no, he doesn't. You got a right to burn the United States flag, but you know what? Try doing it in front of me. I don't care if it says on some piece of paper you're allowed to do it. You know what? Pick it up your teeth with broken fingers. Don't try that around me. And you know what? Then you go defame a guy who served honorably in a war that no one wanted to go to that war. No one wanted a piece of it. And this guy goes and he brings it to the United States, and we're going to get this done to him. You know what? Do I need to humanize this a little more? Here we go. There you go. Let's humanize it. Why should somebody be able to mock this man's sacrifice? The man who gave me life. All right, he was my friend. He didn't raise me, but he was my friend, and he was a good guy. And you know what? He did what he had to do, and he was there at the worst time. Ted offensive, really rough. You know what? I don't think he deserved to have a black mass done against him. But I will say this: wherever he went after he left us beyond the furthest star, I don't think he's going to see any commies, whether he and I don't know if he did it, but whether he killed any or not, he won't have to worry about seeing them because he's going to heaven, and commies are atheists, so they don't qualify for that now, do they? And what can I say? Sorry, it's not saying it was illegal, but it sounds like harassment, stalker. See, that's a crime against an American in the United States. That's still, and it's a violation of terms of service, and you're leaving a cyber trail. So I don't know. And let's see. I'm not the one who has to produce the evidence, and I'm not the one who spilled blood where the vampire had been staked. All right, people brought this guy back through negligence and arrogance and vainglorious hubris, but they've sworn it off, and it's a new day. And you know what? I got it as bad as anybody else. Jill probably understood how I felt when she saw her face on Frau Goebbels, who deleted her own children. This is a horrible thing to do to a mother. You know what? Say what you will about her show. Keep it professional. And you know what? Why should this guy you see on your screen right now, who loves Star Trek, by the way, who loved Star Trek, all right, who came back and found some solace in watching it, loved it, So many Star Trek conversations. And now his sister's starting to watch it to remember him. My aunt, she's like 80 years old. She called me up to talk about The Drumhead and said, A Measure of a Man. And she said, what should I watch next? I said, The Drumhead. Because she had enough Star Trek literacy to just jump right in. She hadn't seen Next Generation before. That is more Star Trek than we've heard for a while. What, my crazy rant? Dude, they couldn't even legally drink when they were drafted. Yeah, 21 to drink maybe came after the Vietnam War. I think it was 17 or 18 to drink in my state and 19 to be deployed, so 18 to be drafted. But I think you can drink on the base. I don't know. Like, you can drink a little bit on the base. They keep control of it. They don't let you get wasted. No, I'm not. I'm not holding ground. We are done. I don't want to hear any of this nonsense about holding our ground. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about tomorrow. As far as I'm concerned,
The Carthaginians defending.
We are all that's left of the United Federation of Planets. What can we do? I don't want to give up, and I don't want to sound like some kind of ideologue who wants only one kind of Star Trek. We once had 3 at the same time. Next Generation ends a few weeks before, we had the Next Generations going on in reruns, fresh episodes of Deep Space Nine, TOS, and we had, Voyager. There's like a brief overlap. Is there one shining moment where all 3 are on for like 2 weeks? I don't think so. But you know what? Great TV, great Star Trek, for years. Even Voyager here and there, great. Not all the time, but here and there, great. And we're not going to hold any ground. We're going to advance from system to system. We're going to go from victory to victory. We're not going to give the enemy any ground that we fought for once already. We're going to hold him by the nose, and we're going to punch him in the mouth. We're going to grab him by the belt, and we're going to kick him in the ass. Take our hashtag back. Make the other poor dumb bastards fight for their hashtags. Let their stupid causes die to live the greater part of glory. And if we're not victorious, let no hashtag come back alive. What can I tell you, guys? It's important. We have to somehow find a way. One, try to use the Star Trek and Section 30. Do not use Section 31 hashtags. Do not engage with it. If you have to say it, call it Infection 31 or No Connection 31. I am very proud of tomorrow's thumbnail. You should check it out. It's good stuff. It is the best thumbnail I have created. It is probably the most fun thumbnail you'll see on this channel. Start the Sci-Fi CSI watch party tomorrow. Let's take a look at this fantastic thumbnail that was made by me, your buddy, Admiral Teag. This one's fun. Check it out. And X, I'm looking over from time to time to check the comments. I don't see any fresh ones coming in, so I hope I'm getting all. I do have the extra device open, but gosh knows, every time I think I've got X down, I find a new way to screw it up. So just in case I didn't see you. Hi, Nikki. And hello, Tran. Thank you for that great space the other day, Tran. There was a dating space, and she was giving good advice. But one guy was saying to me, nothing could be worse than going home alone. And I said to him, really? Well, then why don't you date across genders? And he's like, And I was like, so there are things worse. Right? Because this is not your thing. It's not your thing. You could buy stock and do a hostile takeover. Maybe. No, Elon, buy Star Trek. Elon, buy Star Trek. The content is valued higher than what it's actually worth due to fixing it all. Well, if they leave it out fallow for a little while to regain some luster, it'll be okay. But to be honest with you, tomorrow's watch party, you're going to get the Saturday panel that does serious Star Trek analysis. So we're gonna do something that no one else does. We're gonna review it as Star Trek. People are giving it a free pass. It's still called Star Trek. It's going to get a Star Trek review. We will have the final word in the Star Trek. And wow, one more person signs on. We got 100 viewers. We're almost in the triple-digit club. We have a great amount of people on X, about 86, 87. Thank you, X. And I'm just, like I said, I'm watching that chat to make sure I stay current. Hopefully it's coming in. Hello to all of you. And you know what? If there's a charity I don't handle any of the money for, by the way, on screen, there's a charity that you can do your own due diligence on. It's the 21st century. Do your due diligence. Do your due diligence before you give to any charity, okay? Make sure that you're giving your money in a way that's responsible. That charity, that money doesn't go through my hands. And that, you know what? If you're going to be on YouTube, get ready for an ongoing fundraiser. And that was the top of my script tonight, but I'll just say it to you right now. Did you know, in the city of New York, it's against the law to have a permanent going out of business sale? It is. On 2nd Avenue, where I would hang out sometimes. They had, and 100, yes! Thank you. 100 viewers unlocked. And thank you, Critically Thinking and Drinking. You get your banner put back up there for a moment. Subscribe. Your wisdom forged this table. Thanks, buddy. And you know what? Thank you for the DM where you explain yourself there. That was a weird meltdown the other day that we had. We'll figure that one out. But, my apologies for Radioactive, who stays off of X and had to learn the ropes the hard way, which was not that, not something you were ready for, and it was cool. I feel uncool. I feel bad about that one. But here we go. Check this one out. Section 31, No Connection 31. This is my prediction. Our Saturday Star Trek Enterprise party will still be more enjoyable and probably outperform Section 31. Section 31 is a freak show. It'll have larger numbers, probably do 160 to 220 based on previous Star Trek stuff. The curiosity factor is higher on this one than it was for Star Trek Discovery Season 5, which didn't even have people after Episode 2. It was so stupid. It was so bad. My prediction for this is incoherent, stupid, self-obsessed. We have a mech man warrior with a Halo suit. We have everything is very 2017, and this was from 2019, and their ideas in 2017, their thinking was like 2014. So this Star Trek movie you're going to get about the future is from like something like 11 years ago, and 11 years comes into there's word going around, and we're trying to run this one down. I'm not really part of this one, but I was tipped off to this. A lot of us here, including myself, were part of this and didn't know it, but there's a lot of suspicion about a missed deadline, lack of explanation, and a comic book promised in 2023 that seems to exist from 2015. And that's all I'm going to say. But people want to know about that one, and I don't know if the story will be here. Other people told me about this one, but you know what? You want to talk about some dark YouTube mysteries? That's swirling around. That maybe there's some things that need to be accounted for, and maybe some answers need to be had. But I don't know. Like, this does not involve me. This touches on other communities within YouTube and other communities within American society. And if it is what people are thinking it is, it's so ugly people might just drop it and walk away, or maybe it comes. I don't know what's going to happen with that. That one has nothing to do with me, and it's going to shock people if it comes out. But just be on YouTube. Give with caution. Yeah, mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. What does he want to do with the Neuralink? I have my own concerns about that. I don't know too much about that one. I have to start reading about it. You could buy up the stock and do a hostile takeover. I got that one. He loves sci-fi. I don't mind. I think he's a compelling figure. What we found out was talking about him is juggling sweaty dynamite, because opinions on Elon run very high, to the point where if you joke around about the gaming thing with Osmond Gold, people might blow up. And so we're just going to leave that one alone, because even though we reported it fairly and in context, emotions got too high. And it doesn't encourage you to really want to follow the life of Elon Musk, who at the very least I would say is an interesting guy. And with 3.3 million subs, when Osmond Gold wants to make an accusation, and we reported that it was denied, and we said what there was said to be the evidence, and you guys can check it out for yourself. It's all good viewing anyway, and it's all true stuff. I'm not going to compromise, and I'm not going to hard pass. You know what? If this, just come by on Saturday for Enterprise. I said it's going to outperform it. People wanted this watch party. We're going to have it. It is Infection 31.
The Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3
We
Roman
will not
legions.
go quietly into the night.
Arab women.
Will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. And boy, that's like the best movie with Data. Brent Spiner's best movie is Independence Day. None of his Star Trek movies are all that good. I don't like any of his Star Trek movies that much. I don't like Star Trek Let's Kill Captain Kirk Off. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like Star Trek First Contact. I didn't like Star Trek Let's Get Tickets to Go See Genesis. And I didn't like Star Trek Imperfection. They all sucked. Hear, hear, yes. Hear him. Hear me. Hear me. These sacred worship words must apply to the not just the Yangs, but the Coombs. They must apply to all men, or they mean nothing. Do you understand me? You know what? What was ours before will be ours again. We will expose the hypocrisy. I am not doing anything on that hashtag. I do not know if this watch party will be huge, but it will be fun. Sean and I and JT and Germ will probably be there, and it'll be fun, and it'll be funny, and we'll bring the sauce, and we'll give you a show worth listening to. If you don't even want to watch their show at all, but if you do want to watch it, you will be able to. It'll be out, and you can see it, and you'll see some of how bad it is, and then we'll review it, and we'll probably make an upload of the review. And you know what? People are putting their videos out now. I could have had a video out today or yesterday. I chose not to do it. I will not contribute to their hashtag trending. Hello, Read by Nature. Good to see you. Good to see you. Wrong movie. Yeah, you know what? Our commentary is great. Come in for, you know what? Find out how long the movie is. We usually say when it starts. Like, here's what happens at a Saving Star Trek watch party. We watch Star Trek most of the time. We won't be doing that tomorrow, but it's a Saving Star Trek watch party. We start out with a setup and a conversation. We try to be interesting and fun, and we talk to you guys. Then we jump into the episode, continuing to talk to you guys, and we really, the focus is on the episode, but we do talk to you guys. I will try to watch this movie only once, so maybe I'll watch it beforehand and mod through the show. My fear there is that if I do that, unfortunately, I'll end up watching some parts of it twice and maybe 3 times, and I just don't want that, because when I make the video, they'll be a little bit, it'll be a little bit different, than other ones, and I'm not really celebratory about this, but I am Star Trek on YouTube, all right? No one else has a dedicated Star Trek channel that has the watch parties that I have. No one else has the activist community I have. An activist in a good way. Active. We're going to boycott that hashtag. We're not going to give them any fodder by engaging with the actors. We are going to take back our sacred hashtags. Our worship words. In the episode of Omega Glory, where they talk about that, right? Freedom. Yeah, freedom from speech, their speech. We don't need it. It's terrible. And hail Read by Nature. Hail Tetrarch of Apathy. Radioactive is here with me, my friend. It's good to see you and my sometimes co-host. You'll be seeing more Radioactive if he agrees to deal with the BS of social media. But He's a great co-host when he comes on. He really is. We're going to finish 1883. We got a 1923 coming. Thank you guys for making the 1923 upload do so great. But if you could go and give it a like, it's lagging on the likes. Here's what it is. I did everything right with this video. I wasn't a jerk off about it. What I did was this. I took the video and I made it as long as it needs to be. It addresses one of the only characters that no one talks about. Her plot is woven through some of all but one episode, I think. I think she's not in one episode, but she's in almost all of them, if not all of them. I think there's one episode where we don't touch base with Teona Rainwater. But I did a 1923 character study for her because no one talks about her story. I didn't go for 8-9 minutes so I could get the extra advertising revenue. What I did was I made it as long as it needed to be, and I gave you context in the middle for why the story is good. Someone on Reddit said boring. Fair enough, her story's not exciting. My video essay has a gunfight in the middle to move it along. Check it out. It's fun. Please. And those of you who have, thank you. It's doing really, really good. Thank you, John. You know what? I'm here to give a great conversation to you. And I was very, very, very bummed that my guest couldn't make it because I love Sub-Commander Tal. Sub-Commander Tal is somebody at Sub-Commander T, I think it is. If you follow him on X, and I do, you can find him on my X things that I follow. He follows me. He's great. He does a lot of great TOS humor, and he does a lot of great TOS stuff. He's a great YouTube, a great Xer, and I can't wait to have him on YouTube. Most unpopular opinion. My unpopular opinion. I like First Contact, and I really enjoy Generations despite all its flaws. Insurrection and Nemesis, well, I can't even pretend. I can't bring myself to pretend they're even mediocre. I think I walked out of one, and I didn't go see the other. Whatever, like one I might have skipped, and then the next one I saw, they're like, it's going to be the last one. I was like, I think that's the one I walked out of. They sucked. First Contact, the performances are really good, but Picard gets owned and showed what to do by a female helper. Don't forget that. We have Girl Boss Alfre Woodard in there, and Girl Boss Guinan telling confusing rules. They break their own story several times, and then Mauler would be so upset. I wish that he would watch that. I would love Mauler's reaction to Star Trek. What they did to Captain Kirk. You know, with that great voice, I would love that. Please, Mauler, take a look at it. I want to know what he thinks of the Nexus as a plot device. Could you imagine? But, you know what? First Contact, the performances are good. It's a good action movie. Generations, you got William Shatner. It's good. Any movie with William Shatner is good. It's a good movie. It's their best movie because it's got William Shatner. Generations' best movie is Generations. It's got William Shatner. None of their other movies have that. But let's keep going. It's good to see all the chats. Getting used to going to be pure dark comedy. This is going to be pure dark comedy tomorrow, but it'll be fun. It'll be funny. Kirk's death is a disappointment, but there's a lot to Generations to enjoy, in your opinion. That's cool. Listen, Generations isn't trash. It's just the story's messed up. They make mistakes. If you watch the scenes with Guinan, and you think about what happens to Guinan, the rules of the Nexus are broken by the person who lays them out. In her cabin, she explains the rules of the Nexus. They're already wrong. How do you get that? Not in a ship. It's as big of a lie as what she says on The View. When she says you can't get there on a ship, she got there on a ship. When he said, right? So this whole thing with Soran and all that other stuff, it was just a bad and complicated story. And when you meet Echo Whoopi in the Nexus, she lays out rules that conflict with and exclude regular Whoopi from this universe or whatever, is not Nexus Whoopi. And then she says that when you're in the Nexus, Echo of you remains here forever. What does that mean? Can I re-upload Captain Kirk and put him into a very weak android like I did to Picard? These people thought of it, can't think of that, and now I'm afraid to have voiced it, but I think it's been said before. I mean, permanent re-uploads. You know what? Here's my personal take on what would be a very, very typical thing for them to do, and this is why I'm not projecting a lot of success on this one. I think that what they would do is they would take Kirk and Picard's DNA on that stupid, hey Tim, on that stupid Daystrom station. They would take Kirk and Picard's DNA. They would combine it, and they would say it's such bad toxicity. It's such a toxic creature. The only way for the Kirk clone to survive was for it to be female. And then it goes crazy anyway because Kirk and Picard were such toxic males, and she'll be converted and redeemed at the end, and they'll be like, we gave them a Kirk Picard character, and they won't acknowledge that it was a villain for like 7/8 of the story, and that the redemption wasn't earned. By the way, if they do that, I'm out. But anyway, here's the thing, and I want to get paid because I said it here first. F you, you stole that video game story. I don't care what the court said. Yeah, you won, but I don't believe it. You would agree. The Nexus doesn't hold up to scrutiny. It's a nice plot device, but it's more magical than sci-fi. It goes a little bit... I agree with you, in essence, but wouldn't you agree, Read by Nature, that it drops from plot device to plot convenience? It's too contrived. And it's too elastic. It's whatever we need it to be. And it's garbage. Anyway, listen, it's been 2 crazy hours where we've had a YouTube analytic that was finally strong. YouTube coming back to life. I'm sorry that you have to deal with any of this AdSense at all, but that's what they do. That's what they like to do over on YouTube. If I go super long, it won't be an approachable stream. I would agree. The Nexus doesn't hold up to... Oh, I got that one. I was wondering if you were applying to the plot device versus plot convenience. Because I wonder, this is saving Star Trek. Con! You know what? People said there's no echo in space. In space, no one can hear you scream. First of all, this is a better movie than that movie, and that movie's good. But you know what? It's retransmitting on the Reliant. How about that one? Yeah, it wasn't in space. How do you like that? It's good to see everybody here. Listen, tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Time, bring your phaser to the bot storm on the Final Frontier. Will it happen? I hope not. Might it? Probably. You know what? We would hope to get out without one, but bot storms happen. It's YouTube weather now, and if I go too long, they won't defend me, right? They're bad about that. They disavow your stream, and they start to view you dimly. After being bot stormed too many times, I had all the problems that are finally... I mean, you guys on YouTube are amazing today. We got up to like double-digit concurrence, which for this show is great. I know a lot of people close their browser and I lose the view that way. I'm a guy who gives away views when I do the watch parties anyway. There's always a donut hole in the engagement for people who can't watch on a second device. That's fine. Do me a favor. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you're still subscribed to me and your other favorite creators. And keep everyone honest. This time travel weasel from New Zealand, F him. We don't need it. Hold people's feet to the fire. No more bringing back this guy this far and no farther. And we'll see to it that history always remembers the name. Saving Star Trek. Star Trek should not be remembered the way they want you to, my friends. The things they want for you from Star Trek are absolutely repulsive. I will show you again. Tenor keyboards is the same keyboard on your phone. Look for their logo on GIFs, okay? Look for it. Here we go. Tenor keyboard. My default thing is baseball. Let's see what they have for Star Trek. Will it be changed to Section 31? This is their Star Trek GIFs. They changed it back. Here we go. This is what they have planned for you. This is their Star Trek GIFs. So they don't have enough money to promote Section 31. They haven't made any GIFs of it. Is this Picard? Jeez, and it just goes to... That's Gay Garrick right there, by the way. They just ruined all these characters and been so uncharitable. This is so much sabotage and bad storytelling and bad lore. It's bad. Maybe it was a fun show, but it was bad for the overall, health of Star Trek and the franchise. Meet me at the final frontier. Saving Star Trek ends its poll saying, have you turned on notifications and liked the stream? 90% of you said yes, and 21 likes is really helping me out. You're tired and cold. In Florida, it's 45 degrees cold, but it's at night. Yeah, 45 degrees is cold in New York, too, if you have to live with it for an extended period of time, if you don't have heat down there or good heat. I've been in the last cold snap in Florida when it was 50 for an extended period of time, like 2 straight weeks, back in like 2011 or 2012. It was painful at the end of it. I was like, just as bad as when my heat was out here. I was hating it. But I ask you guys all, meet me at the final frontier. And by the way, if I could have any Star Trek upgrade, I'll just tell you guys, phaser teeth. Phaser teeth. Think about the stunning smile I could flash with my phaser teeth. And also, fix crayonettes. We are preparing for the art of war. There will be war movies coming back. We will have more war movies. I am investing in Band of Brothers. We're going to watch Curry soon. Then we're going to watch some other war movie. Then we'll go back to Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers will be a long journey. Maybe we can get Lance along. It was great to have Lance here. I thank him so much for coming to the stream. I didn't think I was going to have a guest, and I got Lance. That's a pretty high-quality guest. You guys, I love you all. Let's see. In moderation, the Nexus could be like where the Traveler took Enterprise. Thoughts creating, warping reality, but they did it to reduce convenience. You know what? That would have been great, and the Traveler would have fit into these. You could fix that story at the Traveler. Tetrarch just did it. Way to go, Tetrarch. Great, dovetails right with what Read by Nature was saying. I love when you guys have these conversations, and I love the more. I don't have chill streams. To have no plan is to fail to plan is to plan to fail. I always have bullet points and a little bit of a script. Sometimes we get pulled off. Lance changed the landscape of the show. The landscape of the show, and it was great to have him here. And I appreciated his contributions. And we got all tangential, but I love talking to Lance. And just, you know what? It's interesting in and of itself. And his book's great. I love it. I recommend Silver Screen Journeys. And that link will be in the chat soon enough. Let me see if I can't get it for you now. I only got it the other day. It should still be up there with my orders. I'm not going to return it. I have to go rate it. I took a picture with it. Guys will get an idea when you now you're going to have to journey to Lance's page to find it, but you know what? It should be alright. Now I'm going to drop this into the chat, so you guys should all be able to see it. Silver Screen Journeys. Silver Screen might be all one word, but we all know the typing and being smart with that is not my strong point. I can't wait till Talk to Text gets perfect. All right, this is Silver Screen Journeys on Amazon. Buy it. You'll love it. It's a bargain. You can get your paperback for, a bargain. Also, you know what? My channel memberships are available. You can help me have a voice and bring your voice. I try to stay in touch with all of you as members if you join my channel community. We have gotten just about a video a week and a member video just about every month since I got the editing up to speed about 6 months ago. My first ever edited video is Bird of Prey 5. Bird of Prey 5 was a great YouTuber and a friend of mine. He also, he had a few opinions about Admiral Teag. Here's the other thing about me. I have absolutely no ego about this. It's about Star Trek and not me. Now, as a YouTuber, I have an ego. But as a Star Trek pundit, I don't. As a movie reviewer, I have an ego. I think I do a good movie review. I think that I have a command of how to tell a story. I love the hero's journey and the hero with 1,000 faces. But you know what? I have no ego about some of these things. And Bird of Prey 5, he had a healthy competitive ego about being a Star Trek pundit. So let's first take a look at what tomorrow night holds in store for you. Check out this great thumbnail that I made for all of you for tomorrow. That is a hell of a thumbnail. If you look at this thumbnail, I have the Star Trek stuff where they can't really pick it up with their AI. If they can, the metadata will be skewed some way. If a good advertising executive, and this is being scrutinized now a lot, I hear, right? So, and Mr. House Party 6 is already checked in. Guys, go over there and like this stream already. It's got 3 likes already. The more it gets, the better it'll be tomorrow when it hits. Check out this weirdo Vulcan. Again, if you're about 50, 55 years old and you peaked in high school and you still wear like the same clothes that you wore in high school all the time, including the freaking business meetings and to work, this is your Star Trek, right? If you're stuck in 1991, the hero's a nightclub performer. We're obsessed with nightclub performers. And I did a lot of work on this this thumbnail. And it's fair. I don't want to hear people saying it's not fair. Look at that. We've got our progress, banner there. The progress bar, so to speak. You can see that right next to our... This character's called Fizzy, I think. He's a freaking Vulcan. That's our Vulcan, our emotional Vulcan. Again, another emotional Vulcan. Is there any other kind? But, so 23 hours from now, the fun begins because it's in 23 hours and 30 of your minutes, Captain. You know what? Then we have Mikey Spock in the center council. Then we have Michelle Yeoh, the tiniest part of it, because she is the smallest part. This is a well thought out thumbnail, guys. The tiniest part is Michelle Yeoh, because she's barely going to be in it. So I made her the smallest. Then Mikey Spock in the corner for no reason, because her shadow will hang over this whole thing, which will re-canonize the characters of Discovery. It was a nice couple of weeks, huh? All those videos that they lured people into making, in my opinion, were to just canceling all those shows, saying it was the end of Star Trek Discovery, saying it was the end of Star Trek Lower Decks, and all that stuff. It was just to get people to make videos celebrating it. I think that's why Unification wasn't listed. I don't think that I think even that guy, Dave Blass, hats off to him, didn't want it to trend. Now, he's messed around with Picard 3, and he has to stand behind that, but I don't for 1 minute believe that he really thinks it's as good as the Star Trek we love. I think Dave Blass does like real Star Trek. But this is our thumbnail for tomorrow. I appreciate anyone who does. Let's see if anyone else hit the like button on that one. Is this still at 3 likes? Please. The link is right at the... I'll throw it in the chat again. Let's think about this one. If you give it a few likes and hit the notification for tomorrow for this one, you will be so much happier. You'll get taller. Your manliness will increase. Your womanly powers will be augmented as if you took the drug from Mudd's Women, right? Remember that great episode of Star Trek where they had the beauty-enhancing gelatin, and then at the end it was just... they were able to do it with suggestion, right? It was just like a placebo. And so, hey, you know what? I wish I had those pills with me for any time I got drunk and just be like, hey, ladies, do you want to take this? Like, just disclose that one. You don't have to dose anyone, but just be like, you want to take this pill that makes you beautiful? I bet you most people would take it, even if they're already beautiful. Oh, you'll be even more beautiful. But on the bottom, underneath, larger is character from this. Captain Rachel Garrett from yesterday's Enterprise. They'll move to destroy perhaps the finest storytelling of the next generation. Here's the other mistake they made with the TNG movies. Why not have Sela? She should have been a villain in a Star Trek movie. Would have been more interesting than Insurrection or Nemesis. Am I right? Am I right? Join me here. Bring your phaser to the bot storm on the final frontier. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I think it will. These people who don't want me doing this are vengeful. I don't know who they are, but they consider me a threat. They consider me to be a problem. I'm only the voice of reason. I'm only telling the truth. 6! Thank you so much. Anyone else want to help me out? This really, really helps me out. X. Help me out. Follow me here. Get the message out. Help me get people to see this firsthand. This travesty, this insult to our collective intelligence, this absolute desecration of the corpse of once great Star Trek. And I say Solar Journeys now. You know what? Thank you. Yeah, I am just banging away. I'm being a little crazy, but you know what? Thank you, and thank you all. I love you, and you know what? We are now at 2:23. Very approachable. Everyone coming through later, thank you. Thank you very much. This is my life as a football fan right now, by the way, just so you guys know. That's me. Here's the Admiral Teag face reveal. They can see I own a Jets jersey. I'm not proud, but I am enamored of my ancient freedom. And I hope to find out about the JFK assassination. This is the longest that we've gone since the president was inaugurated, that they kept talking about it. Apparently we'll find out some stuff. Canada's executive order supersede the committee by Congress that decided to reseal it for 75 more years, only 7 or 8 years ago? I don't think so, but we'll find out. If anybody will get it done, it'll be him. Maybe we could have him call up like the Ellisons and tell them the Kurtzman needs to get out of there. A lot of people saying that if this doesn't work, it's the last hurrah for Kurtzman trick. If you want this not to work, one way to do it is deny it views. There's a way to siphon it down to only 1 or 2 views by joining me. Join me. You will be well treated. It's me, your buddy, Admiral Teag. And I'm going to bring you the best Star Trek watch party you could ever have. Well, Miskatonic Madman with a very generous $5 super sticker. You know what? I'm going to thank you. I'm not going to. I'm not the one who does the singing, right? But I'll sing for you my song parody, my Star Trek song parody. Everyone's heard it a little bit, but since you gave me a super sticker, and so there's no question, I want to give it up to you for giving it up to me, and I thank you, Miskatonic. You're a great pal. You really are. We have a super sticker of a pair. Speed of lightning, roar of thunder. I won't do it, but we all know who I'm invoking. He's a really great YouTuber. It's everybody's pal, DC. My pal, Sean Carter, is on there. You can see him. He had a great new blue screen background yesterday. It was absolutely great. But you know what? Here we go. My Star Trek song parody. Here we go. I'm sorry, Miskatonic. Here we go. I got to stand up and stretch my diaphragm. I think all the noise reduction is off, so you should get it pretty good. You ready? Khan was frozen one time and stranded for a lifetime when Chekhov found him on SETI Alpha 5. Once more, Spock opens the door, and he'll fix the warp core, and Star Trek will go on and on. Every night in my couch, I watch Trek. I love Trek. That is how we know Trek goes on. Once more, Spock opens the door, and he'll fix the warp core, and Star Trek will go on. What do you think of that, guys? Was that fun or what? Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy that? That's courtesy of Miskatonic Madman. Scylla should get a redemption arc since she's Tasha Yar's kid. She should have. The moment is gone. I don't want it anymore, but I would love Denise Crosby to get some work and some help. I'm sorry, Denise, that your house burned down. I wanted you as a Star Trek villain. If they ever made a faithful cartoon, animated and stuff like that, you'd be a great voice. And I loved you in The Walking Dead. You're thank you. You're inspired? Are you ready for a great sci-fi watch party? We'll have one on Saturday, and we'll have a great watch party of something that says it's sci-fi tomorrow. Come by for Star Trek Sci-Fi CSI, the Star Trek channel that has the largest view parties without ever using the hashtag. I'm not like all the other boys. I'm not like the other YouTubers. I am not using my biggest asset and my biggest thing that everyone else would draft on at its biggest moment because I love it more than I love anything else. I love Star Trek, and we're going to save it. I don't care if it takes I will chase them round perdition and through the moons of Namibia. I will save Star Trek. They task me. They task me and I shall have them. All right. Join me here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America. I sang the Star Trek National Anthem. This weekend, we will have not one, but 2 Star Trek watch parties. One will feature Star Trek. I have a funny feeling, yes, the episode of Enterprise, no matter what it is going to have really, really good. We're going to probably like it a lot better than we would have in a normal time, right? Could you imagine? I believe in Star Trek and I love Wrath of Khan. Sorry, I get so caught up in that. I love Star Trek. I love it's like the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered. Come meet me tomorrow. Bring your phaser to the watch party on the Final Frontier. Sydney Sweeney, see me out. Thank you for the validation, Critical Drinker, when you said that she makes everybody happy and makes everybody watch more YouTube. You'll watch this one to the end because here she comes. Oh, baby, she's hot.
Do you want the Star Wars trilogy and the mythology to go beyond your lifetime?
No. 3 will be the last film, and it'll be a 6-part series, and that'll be the end of it.
Incorrect. You're not mentoring someone to take over for you?
No, it's
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
there may be other venues for it, but not in the theatrical release.
Affirmative.
I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek. I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek.
The word decent doesn't apply to me.